here, so here we go. We got some additional things to put on the agenda. We're waiting for, I don't know where Beth went, she was here, but if possible, because Mr. Morris is here to talk about the bus stuff, it would be nice to move the item 2 and 6 to the top of the agenda, if that's okay. Mr. Hargrove, I know you got the complaint form number 1, but.
Yes, sir.
But then we can, make the best use of Mr. Morris's time. So,
I understand that's not a hit on the importance of my time, right?
you're here for the duration.
Correct. That's right.
So we can shuffle things around, and you're gonna be here anyway, so I guess the first item then would be the bus conduct, and I don't know who,
I'm not sure who added that to the agenda. And as we figure that out, I do want to bring up, please keep the folks that are closest to us that are not here in your thoughts and prayers, that are not here with us.
Already had.
Thank you. Thank you. That was not our addition to the agenda. I'm not sure who contacted Miss Melissa to add that one.
I'm not sure either, so that's,
I thought this went back to maybe the November board meeting. Wasn't this something, Robert, that you was working on?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh, well, I mean,
We were,
I know what
at that time, we talked about the policy committee looking at the, policy in which the school bus garage would have more say as far as,
well, weren't you proposing that Mr. Morris be the one that reviewed things instead of the schools?
well, he had an ultimate say if he felt like it got to the point of a potential distraction and safety issue for the buses, that a bus driver could finally stand up and say, we're done. We can't do this. We can't keep doing it.
Mr. Morris, since that time of the year, you're more than welcome to come up here and grab a mic, sit over there by Miss Holly.
Sounds like you're on the agenda anyway
Yeah.
for a while here. You might as well just call in.
Yeah, get Tim on.
As we provide this monthly, our monthly conduct report, in my mind, as I have reviewed it, has improved. Do you have any?
Oh, yes, it's improved very much so, and I'm pleased where we're at. We're sending more videos now, writing on write-ups. The number of write-ups that student has incurred in our discipline seems to be more equaled out.
Consistent?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Consistent across the board in following the policy.
Yeah, I think at that time, the only discussion we had, if that's what this agenda item is today, was the ability, because policy basically says that the principal will make the final decision if the child continues to ride the bus or
Yes.
not. And I think me and you had talked
Yes.
about that a little bit, but that's kind of backwards, because if it gets to the point that it could cause an issue on the bus, it could be potentially dangerous, that's where they need the authority to, it was something to put in some kind of line into the policy committee.
Okay.
But I think that's where I understood it was going.
I
To
think
the
that's where
policy
that came from,
committee.
yeah, so.
Yeah, we just hadn't had policy committee yet, but, I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking about it, and we'll have something before we go to policy committee.
Yeah, and this is the first
If
work
anybody
session
wants to
since
talk
then.
about it now, since we brought it up.
Since it's just discussion, maybe it should be a consensus between you and the principal, because I
It-
think.
Yes, ma'am.
the
It usually is. I
communication needs to
usually
be there.
call and tell them. I had one yesterday that this was their 6th write-up, and it did not get put in the system that their 5th one had been done, and it was supposed to be 6 weeks, and I just carried the paperwork to that principal and made sure that they had a heads up on that from now on. But I'm usually talking to them, we're sending videos of them now, and when that paperwork goes through, if it's their 5th offense, we write that on there. That way the principal knows. They should know with the computer anyway, it's all logged in, but that way we're giving them a heads up that Tim Morris just got his 5th write-up.
And that's good, maybe if it was just in policy to back that up.
Yeah.
Ultimately, there
Okay.
needs to be a consensus, and I guess if y'all don't agree on a consensus, then
Because you certainly need to be involved
Somebody's
in,
gotta-
Yes,
you know,
ma'am.
people that's
Yeah,
there in the
and
middle
I
of it.
try to be, we had a thing the other day with a substitute teacher or substitute driver, and sister got mad, and instead of her being off the bus, I went to the high school to just speak with her and talk to her about, your behavior wasn't really good. Technically, I could write you up and put you off the bus, but I'm trying to work with you. And she was very receptive of that, and that's what my job needs to be too, not just to put you off the bus. My job's to get you there and back home safely. And if I can work with those kids that way, it shows that we have compassion, and we should. The ones that need to be off the bus are the ones that are like me on there, and I need to be off the bus, and mom and dad need to know that. And there are some of those. I mean, they're not millions of them, but there are some students that they don't have the support at home. They act out on the bus. It continues, and working with the school bus driver to where that doesn't escalate back and forth, where it comes for a tit for tat thing, is where we need to, try to make that work too.
And it gets to be perpetual, where it's not any,
Yeah.
if you look at one or two
When
or
they get
three.
6 or 7, then it becomes a habitual thing, and it gets sort of frustrating for the driver.
Right.
And I also understand, I had a grandmother the other day that she has no car. Granddaughter is 6th ride-up. She's off the bus for 3 weeks. And I understand it's a hardship, but it's also a hardship for the driver and maybe the teachers. So it comes down to, we're trying to teach you how to behave. If you don't get there by the time you're 18, you wind up in our jail out here. So we need to work hard on that. But
In a way, it's almost a reward. You're home for 3 weeks.
I
mean, you know.
think if it'd been my daddy, it would not have been a reward. I promise you that.
Most of our
we would be
days.
on
Yeah.
7 write-ups.
The first ride-up would not have been a thing for me, so.
But you see what I'm saying?
Yes,
It
ma'am.
can get to be a perpetual thing where it
Well, they
doesn't
have to
matter
do their,
anymore, and-
I don't know about the attendance and stuff, they have to come to school. So if you miss 3
Right.
weeks straight, Keith's gonna have you in court. So it puts a lot of pressure on the parents and stuff.
So that they,
The
they're,
correction child.
Yes.
yeah.
Now, Mr. Morris is our transportation supervisor, but he's a teacher at heart, and he works with his bus driver. The video is very, very, very valuable because he's coaching his folks, our bus drivers, through situations and working with them with the use of those videos. So it's a people business, and from 5-year-old to the adults that are driving, we're not perfect. But he does a good job of coaching our drivers, so we are as consistent as we can be in administering discipline on our buses.
Well, by looking at those reports and things, as a principal or as a teacher, is that child doing the same thing in the school classroom? I mean, are they acting out like that all day and then getting on the bus, or are they not,
See, I'm not privy to what happens now.
But see,
in the
that's
building. Yes, ma'am.
important, because that could solve some of the situations if this child, say a child's not doing anything during the school day, to get on the bus and then start doing all this stuff. To me, there needs to be another intervention in there somewhere, maybe with a counselor or something when they get to a certain point, because something's creating that mischief
Yes.
and, or that problem. And, to me, once a child gets to is it 7 offenses or whatever, or 6?
They
Right
would-
before they get to that, a counselor, somebody needs to be looking at that, working with that child, in my
Yes.
opinion. Because that's throwing up a red flag to everybody.
The one I mentioned, since I've mentioned no names, she is in counseling and she's in outside counseling also. Because I went that far with the guardian. She is being that, but it's just.
Well, I'm not sure what all we can say in public, but, is that due to the bus or due to something happening in the school? See, that's,
Her home environment,
okay.
yeah.
And a lot of times that's what it goes
Yeah.
back to anyway.
But I'm happier, I'm very pleased of how far we've come in the 6 to 8 months.
I'm wondering in the policy if we could put something in there so that it's in everybody's mind, once a child reaches this point, that there has to be documentation that they've had a counseling session or something where somebody in the school system has actually talked with that child and trying to figure out what's making them act that way. And even though it may be done, it may be done, you know, it's not required. I
Yes.
guess that's what I'm saying. And maybe it ought to be required. That's
a good
just my
idea.
Depending on the
thinking.
severity of what it is, it might be the SRO that's getting.
Yeah.
But if they've got 6, it doesn't matter if it's severe or what, something's causing the child to get, you know.
Yeah, somebody needs to talk to them.
I would want it if it were my child or my grandchild.
I think Ms. Frida's right, whatever it is, and working towards that, like you say, through policy. I feel like everything we discuss and we come up with a plan and we see how you're working with them already and talking with them already, that if we back that up on paper,
Okay.
And
then
that
we have
takes
a
some
plan. We have a plan that we can stick to.
And that takes some of it off of you and the bus driver because
ma'am.
I don't know how they do it. You do it.
And it just gives you a little more say on paper. Yeah, y'all are talking about it, you're working things out, trying to take care of it, tackle it yourself. Get it on paper where you know, look, I can ultimately not agree with you.
Okay.
Tim, could you look at our bus policies and write out what would help you if we added those to the policies?
Yeah.
And just give them to us so
There's
that
quite a
we
bit.
have some idea?
Like I said, we have come so far since the beginning of the school year that everybody's being consistent with what it says. This is what I'm gonna do on day 1. My drivers are too. When I get my second write-up, they know that we're gonna get this. And the third write-up. So it has come far.
Oh, yeah.
If it's
Everybody's
working-
coming together as a team, and it's following suit to where one school's not doing one thing and another's doing this. It's uniform across the board right now.
And remember, Tim was part of one of our principals meeting, I can't remember what month it
During
was.
the day, yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, we're trying to get everybody
Yeah.
on the same sheet of music, with the same expectations, with the same
And
punishment.
I'd love to have
consistent
zero.
amount of-
Sounds like
Oh,
it's
I know.
working.
It would tickle me to death.
Well, I
Uh,
think y'all need combat pay from what I saw.
Yeah,
They love their kids.
Yeah.
they've got to.
They
have
love their
to.
kids,
They
and
have to.
that's when you watch them and get on board a bus and they want to know where their driver's at. Those kids love them, and they make it, you know. And there's always going to be somebody on there like I used to be. Marilyn Morse was my mom, first female principal in Tullahoma City Schools. She had 3 of us. Kelton Garner probably picked on us a little bit because she was a female principal. We got in trouble. We got paddled. You can't do that now. But if you can reach one of those kids and win and never know it, it's worth the fight.
Yeah.
It just is. We keep them out of jail and they become productive for our society. So it's,
No,
all this is
absolutely.
worth it. Teaching, it's all worth it. Sitting here today is worth it
Yeah.
for that one kid that we don't know.
Bus drivers have a big influence on kids, because
Yes,
I mean,
ma'am.
I look back to my school days, and I remember my bus driver,
Mhm.
and 2 of them, and they were a big part of the day, and they influence you, and it's in a good way.
Yeah, well, that's what I tell them. You teach them how to behave. You teach them how to act like a young man or a young lady. You teach them courtesy. You teach them about love, because it's just, I have one that's, if it hadn't been for the love of that little boy, he would have stepped off the bus and a man went down the right side of the bus and would have killed him. And that lady and that friendship between that young man and that saved that kid's life. You never know where it's gonna come from, and you never know who you're gonna touch and what difference you're making. It's always worth it.
And I think it's to be commended that Mr. Hargrove and the group here is providing us with this information and addressing this. I mean,
That
it
spreadsheet's
wasn't that
working
it was
great.
problems, but
Yeah,
it's just.
the spreadsheet you see, some of them, you know, I'm trying to knock the frivolous ones out. Tim Morse is always gonna have his feet in the aisle. Is that a safety issue? Yes, it is. But is it worth putting a write-up in? Probably not. Those are the ones that need to disappear. Tim Morse throwing a sun drop bottle needs to be addressed, and it needs to be written up, and that needs to be done. So we're trying to our side too, to not have frivolous write-ups that they're dangerous things that Tim's doing on the bus, and he's getting addressed to that.
Some of the stuff too, Tim, is being addressed more correctly now than it was before as we
Yes.
went
Yes,
on our Christmas our breakfast that we had the other morning. One of the
Yes.
teachers told us, or one of the principals told us that they was reporting the stuff incorrectly, and she apologized for
it's
that.
okay. It's a
And-
big learning curve.
Yeah.
It is. It's just a huge learning curve, and we come together, and the safety of those kids, that's the most important part.
Yeah.
So basically, you'll write something up and get it to Melissa, then we can get it on the
Yes, sir.
policy committee, so
See,
does that work for you?
I think
The
that's a
policy
perfect
committee?
idea, especially if it's working. If everything we've been doing since first of
Yes.
this year is showing results and
it
working.
is.
Let's back it up with policy, that way
Okay.
we can keep it trucking.
All right. Enough. And next agenda item is the bus driver compensation, and I think that was brought up.
Be you too, I
Now,
wouldn't go
Sue,
nowhere.
this is about field trips, correct?
Don't be going anywhere.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
This is, my understanding is this is for field trip compensation.
Yes, sir.
And I put a packet together, and I'm gonna read through my packet. The first page is who I have right now that will do field trips. If you notice in the circles, I only have 4 people that will go out of town. Used to, when I first started this job, I had 2 to 3 pages of people who wanted to take field trips. And now I'm down to just what you see. I have 4 people who will do out-of-town field trips. I have the ladies that won't do night trips because they're not comfortable driving at night, and I'm very appreciative of them telling me that. I have a couple that I have to watch for overtime because they do other jobs inside the system, or they do midday on special ed. So when they're getting 28 to 32 hours from me, they can't take an 8-hour field trip. If they do, they go over, and I get in trouble for that. So just trying to do that. But technically, I'm down to about 9 drivers. Where used to, I had a whole group that would do that. Down at, and the 3 down at the bottom, they had put yes. I go beg when I run out of drivers. I will call people. I have a couple who will do it maybe once every 2 months, but they really don't want to. But they know when I call and I'm begging that I'm in trouble, I'm overbooked, and I don't want to tell any school that I can't take them. I want them to go anywhere they want to, that are allowed. Cumberland Caverns, when I was teaching in 3rd grade, was probably the best trip I've ever been with my kids on. Because you could teach mathematics, you could teach geology, and taking that away from a teacher seems to me like I'm taking a tool away from them. They go to the riverboat, they study the water, they go to the Chattanooga Aquarium, they learn all kinds of things that some kids don't ever get to see. So to me, anytime I can get them where they want to go to field trip, I can learn something off of it, work it. So that's on that one. The next page is, I printed this off. Sorry for printing. The next page is, I printed this off, and this is their pay scale under bus driver, where they would start at $87.60 an hour, which is right at $22 an hour, and they finish up at $16.05 for 4 hours, and that winds up being $29.01 an hour. So that's the difference in the pay from where they start at as a first-year person to where some of my senior drivers are making the $116. That also includes sick days, snow days, and their insurance. So that's their compensation for that. Any questions on those two?
Kim, did you say that's based on a 6,
It's a 4-hour day.
4-hour day?
4-hour day, and
Yeah.
they also get their choice of.
20 hours a week, yeah.
Yeah, 20 hours a week. Now, some of my ladies and gentlemen, I have a couple that do special ed during the middle of the day, midday trips. Melissa does an hour and a half every day, so she picks up another 7.5 hours that way. That's why she's pushing 28 hours. And I have 3 or 4 of those. And they go up or down every year. This year, I've just been inundated with a whole lot more special ed and a whole lot more time on the special ed side because we're going everywhere with those kids. but wherever they want them, that's where we're putting them, where they're assigned to. The next page is the trip sheet that I think was done in 2013. I can't put my finger on the last time they had a pay raise. But this is the 2013, it may be 2012. I started in the year 2011 down there. And they say that we've raised the pay one time. The dollar per mile goes back into the general fund, and that's to pay for the bus. Because if we're not, then we're really subsidizing. And really and truthfully, $1 a mile is not paying for that bus. Our new buses that we just ordered are $170,000 a piece. They're very expensive machines. They're just gonna keep going up, and that was the low bid. The low bid difference is $70,000. And those are Thomas buses, and I'm happy with that.
Mr. Morris, does that include fuel on that trip as well?
Yeah, that includes the fuel and the wear and tear on the bus. So that's the dollar a mile on that. And then the next page over is where everybody's been throwing numbers around. I've thrown numbers around, up here's thrown numbers around. So I just put out a little sheet. Up on top in the yellow, I did $25 versus $21.45. And I don't know where that popped in my head, but I'd heard that number rattled around. So, and if you want to pull that third sheet out, where the trip sheet was, and lay it side by side, you just pull that out and lay it down. I've got all these numbers run. I didn't run all of them.
Tim, would this help?
Yeah.
Would that help them do you mind if I?
Is that this year's?
That's,
this
well,
one off of this one?
it's from it's the
Off of
last.
this one? Yeah, that's great.
Let's hear it, here it comes up.
You did better than me.
Well, it will help you
Yes.
explain,
I know you missed
and the numbers on these sheets, the ones in the bluish purple are what our organizations or our schools or our SSOs or our booster clubs, and that's kind of what he's
That's what they're
referring to.
paying right now.
And the yellow, well, I'm gonna let Tim do
Yeah.
this part.
The yellow on that is what their gross pay is. Somehow, I don't understand all this. I've been told 4 or 5 times, and I sit and I think I agree and understand. Their trips are taxed before they go into their check. That's right. So technically to them, they think they're getting double taxed. I can sit and understand the math of it when she's telling me there, but I can't go back and tell it to somebody else. So it's just, that's what they get per hour if you were doing that, or per trip, then you would have to divide that out. But on my sheet that's like this, I did 25 versus 21.45. And what I did was from 0 to 3 hours at $25, it would cost you $75 for that trip, $75. If you put it at the 21.45 cost, it would be $64.35, which there's a difference of $10.65. And I divided it by 60, which is a small class size for any elementary school, but I picked 60. We've got some kindergarten classes that are pushing 80. And for that first time on that difference right there, it's 17 cents per kid. All right, if you go to the $25 and go to the $16 sheet, and I don't have this on there for y'all, I just did this real quick while ago, because I figured I hadn't done that right. I took the $25 and, or the $75 and I subtracted away the 49, and it's $25.10. So if you raise them to the $25 an hour, it would cost them 41 cents a kid. I'm just throwing this out there. This is for y'all to decide. All right, at 4 hours, the $25 line is $100. The $21.45 line is $85 with a difference of $14.20. Divided by 60, it winds up being 23, or really 24 cents per kid, rounded up. And on down it goes. If anybody needs any more of them read or explained, I'd be happy to do that. I'm just looking to get a way to get more people to come drive school buses on trips and not have to tell somebody no.
Just a quick reference, I went ahead and pulled up our numbers, it's not a big difference, but a lot of our classes, we're looking at, unless you're looking at North Coffee or Hillsborough, you're looking about between about 40 kids per class, per grade level. Not per class, per grade level. Just want to make a reference to it. North Coffee, you're looking at 55, 58, 69. So there's a couple that do get up to 60, but most of them are around 40 or less. So just FYI.
That's small.
In,
In grade level?
well, there is a cohort that's a little bulgier than that, but most of them are.
Okay.
We're very blessed.
So you could take that and divide that, you could add about 10% to each one of my things. I'm just looking for help where I don't have to tell somebody no.
Anything we would be looking at, which very rarely gonna be over 8 hours.
Oh, yeah, none of your
Very,
trips right
very
now.
rarely.
Right
Very,
now,
yeah.
with everything going on, because of the overtime thing, I don't have anybody that wants to start before 8 o'clock. Because if I'm making $29 an hour and I have to drop down at 7:30 to 16, I'm not gonna do it, or most of them are not. A
Well,
couple of them
and,
will.
you know, you're looking, and when you change the math on the basis of the kids, I mean, nothing's still gonna cost over 50 cents a kid. But we're, in my eyes, we're talking about one half of the picture affecting the bus drivers. Because we have a ton of athletic programs relying on bus transportation and everything else. And
And no
nobody
coaches.
likes to, that's a big no-go. We keep talking about athletics and helping athletics, but that's a big part of it. And that's probably even more so harder to get someone to.
Oh, yes, yes.
There's many a times. I've
Especially,
seen
that's
we
why I
just
showed you the ones
absolutely
that don't
couldn't
wanna
get-
drive at night. At nighttime, I only have 4 gentlemen.
Yeah.
And that's it right now, is 4 guys who will drive at night.
So this is not just about field trips.
Yeah,
It's about our athletics as well, and night shift per se.
and another thing, when I first started down there, I had enough extra people to where I called it a half a day off.
Yeah.
You took off and did not get paid for your afternoon, and if they wanted to leave at 1 o'clock, we left at 1 o'clock. If you wanted to leave at 12, we left at 12. I took you anywhere you wanted to. Now today, for me to stand here in front of you, I got a mechanic driving my route.
Yeah.
I don't have that luxury anymore. The earliest I can get to you is 4:15 or 4:30. I wish I had that many more people, but I just can't. Every time I get one, I lose one.
And it all, that's where a lot of discussion doesn't take place that should, when we're running off halfway across the state to play people and not standing up for ourselves
Yeah.
and really pushing, going, we can't
Get there.
compete there economically.
Is there any way of getting someone else that has a CDL to drive the bus, you know, like to the trips? Because I remember Bobby used to drive for,
I have no coaches. You have no coaches that
not
have their
Riverdale,
driver's
but that other.
license.
But it's
Don't
not, you don't just go to the DMV.
No, ma'am, it's
You don't just go to the
Oh, I know.
DMV and
6
take a
months.
test and
Exactly.
then
I
go
know what
drive.
it
It is not getting your chauffeur's license anymore. You start off with 40 hours from the federal motor carrier on the computer. Then you're able to go, once you get all that done and you do our background drug and everything else, you can go take your CDL test. After you take your CDL test, you get the passenger endorsement. That means you can drive a school bus empty. You have to be able to do the pre-trip, post-trip, and drive that bus for probably 4 weeks before you can get it all down pat. Once you go down there and you take the test, if you miss one thing, they send you home, and you don't get to come back for
See, I
7
have
days.
2 right now that they're in their 8th month.
Yeah, oh, for you,
8th month.
But
for
I can see-
training, yeah.
I can see why the coaches didn't want to keep that, because, you know, you drive the team to the
Mm-hmm.
game, and then you gotta get off
Your
and coach
medical,
them.
I
and you
have
gotta drive
failed
them
a
back.
medical.
But
Yeah,
they
and the
used to do
medical,
that.
I have
Your
a
medical's
lady,
not easy. Everybody, you go up there, give them $50, you get
No.
your health card for 2 years. It's just I can go in there, one eye twitch and a half of a blood pressure too high, and I won't get mine. I cannot have, and
you
the
get yours for
state
2
knows.
years, ours is only a year.
Yep.
We do it every year, we're expecting.
Well, most of the
to do it.
time it is a year, Depends on how nice you are and if you're calm and your blood pressure is low. You can get a 2-year. Well, I usually help myself be calm.
But, and like I said, it is up to y'all. I just want to I don't want to be, I pulled into the high school back in October, I guess. And there was a group going to the state capitol. And those young men and women were dressed up, and they're our future. I'm going to have to tell them, no, I can't do it. And you can't put that many in the Suburbans. Then you're going to have to start picking and choosing who you get to take. But I was so impressed with them that day is, I thought there's got to be a better way to fix this. I don't know if I'll ever get a fleet of people enough to be able to do the half days anymore. Everybody's struggling with bus drivers, from discipline to pay to part-time work. I just don't know how you fix the problem. And it's a huge problem all the way across the state of Tennessee. It's not just here. So it's not just us, it's just everybody trying to find somebody. And like you said, Ms. Frida, it is a hard job. And Tim Morse is back there preying on you, wondering what he can do to you. And it makes it a hard job. So that's just, but they do love their kids. Deep down in my soul, I know they love their kids. So.
I want to ask you a question, and I don't know the answer, don't know if there's a benefit or not a benefit. Why is some of our surrounding counties subbing their transportation out? The Durham, those type people, what is the pros and cons?
Pros. I can't tell you one pro.
It's a little cheaper.
I can tell you,
It's cheaper,
Yeah.
but there are some cons to it. I mean, when,
I
if
honestly,
if
and I'm gonna
dealing
be
with.
straight up with you, Tim.
Yeah, they're
You know
double
I will
routing
be.
buses in
They
the
I
are.
don't
And
know
if-
what the
Yeah.
pros and cons.
They're
is,
double
what weighs out
routing
the
up
other.
there. I'm having them come to me, wanting to come, if they all live down here, they come to work for us. Because we treat them, we pay so much
Because the
better.
way I understand it, the driver owns their bus.
No, not for Durham.
No.
Durham owns that bus.
Even in,
That's
even
Rutherford
in
County.
Rutherford.
They do
Now,
own their own
Rutherford
bus.
County, they own the
Yeah.
buses, and I had a lady.
And
who
they
just sold-
contract to Durham.
Yes. No, they contract to Rutherford County.
Well, they contract to Durham that has the contract with Rutherford County. They lease that bus.
No,
to
they're
Durham.
all independent. Durham is in Warren County.
Yeah.
When Durham comes in, they bring it all.
I thought they was in Rutherford.
They'll bring, when they come in, they bring it all. They take your buses and you're done. And that means that they'll never buy back in. It would cost it cost close to $10 million to get back in the bus business for Warren County now. They had to
Yeah.
replace that. They let them sell their buses off.
Yeah.
They bring in their buses, then they're my buses now. I tell you when your school is open. I get you home late, I'm sorry. I don't think they can get to sports until about 4:30, 4:45.
Yeah. I was just, all.
Yeah, oh, I know.
All I was
There's all
saying a while
kinds of options
ago,
out there.
well, but all I was saying a while ago is, I literally talked to a few drivers at a ball game in Rutherford County, and they said, no, we own our bus.
Yes.
But we lease our bus to Durham, that in return keeps us busy in Rutherford County.
Well, I have a
Under
lady
their
who just sold
umbrella.
her bus and she came to me.
Yeah.
It's that, because of the discipline, is that bad down
Yeah,
there?
and
She
I was,
sold that.
because I was after the fact, well, what's the benefit for you doing that? Well, I bought this bus and they paid me per
Yeah.
mile. Every mile I put on this
It's a
bus.
business.
It's a business.
It's instead of it
That's
being a
their
service,
office,
it's-
is
yeah.
their bus.
So,
It's turned into a business.
if a company may call Director Jones and say, we're not running Route 3,
Mm-hmm.
we think it's too slick, you've got some conflict there.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now,
Liability. I figured
Yes.
liability was going
Yeah.
to be a
Yes.
big part
Yes.
of why Rutherford County, why Warren County and some of these others.
it's cheaper, but there are some rubs. There are some definite rubs that go with that.
You lose control.
Well, and also
Yeah,
too, it looks
you
to me
lose
like the
control.
school wouldn't have as much communication connection
No,
with
ma'am.
those drivers.
Now, by state law, you still have to have a liaison between Durham and the school system, and that
But
has to be
still,
a school
yeah.
employee. So you still have to keep somebody that's the transportation director, or whatever. But as far as Durham coming in, they would come in and they would take over the buses, they would take over the maintenance, they would take over all of it, and then you're out.
Well, there has to be money in it, they wouldn't be
Oh,
doing
yes.
it. And how in the world somebody could buy $150,000 bus
Well,
and pay for
they,
it?
they rotate buses around.
I mean, an
Our
individual.
state inspector was here this week, and they rotate some stuff that we just don't allow.
They just
What?
they pay enough on a per mile.
But their
If they're
buses are
able to
still
pay for their-
required to be in the same, I mean,
They're-
they got the
yes,
same
ma'am,
requirements.
but that's why they sent 20 of them down in Chattanooga last week.
Right.
Yeah.
They grounded 20 buses last week. We've made it through our state inspection with none. So we keep ours up. We drive ours 18 years or longer. That's like I was telling them. I'm in a bus that's sitting out here right now. It's 19 years old. It can be driven probably for the next 5 years.
And I don't see that there should be anything that there should be money making off of public schools.
Mm-mm. No.
That's the way I look at it. That was another point I was gonna make. When are you gonna go back to teaching math? You were a really good math teacher.
Well, you hired me. You interviewed me right up here in this office a long time ago. I appreciate
And I
that.
always remember when you left the classroom,
Yes,
I thought,
ma'am.
oh, we're losing such a good teacher.
It was a
But you're
hard
just
move.
where you are. I know
Well,
it was.
It was, I left at Christmas time, and it was hard for me to leave my kids. It hurt, and they're still my kids.
But now you got a bunch of.
Now I have young men and women who call me Mr. Mo, and it's worse. It's just, God put me in the right spot at the right place. So,
But thank you for sharing, and I'm kind of going to piggyback on, you hang around that way if I miss something else.
Excuse me a second, Tim.
Yes, sir.
Didn't you say we had about 55 buses?
Mhm.
I thought.
Yep, and you're gonna get me 5 new ones,
Yep.
so.
Well, it depends on what the county budget and finance department does.
Yeah,
I'll get that covered right now.
Tim, thank you for your service.
So maybe you need to come back up here and let's talk some more.
So on the sheet that I handed out to assist Mr. Morris, you have a column, that column in blue, and that's the amount paid by the school organization, whether it's an elementary SSO or a booster club or whatnot, okay? That amount is larger than the driver's pay, okay? Well, there's a reason for that. That blue group, that blue number is also paying that driver's benefits and things like that. It's about 16% on top of whatever their hourly wage is. Now, the yellow column is what the bus driver's taking home, and you can look at for 0 to 3 hours, that's $42.96. Well, that means they're making $14.32 an hour. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But, you brought this up, the T word, we gotta give Uncle Sam his part, we all do. I remember my children, their first job, they got a check and thought they were gonna come home with $100, and I'll be darned, it was only 60-something dollars. Well, that's welcome to adulthood and taxes. So that's why that number varies. Any questions about that?
This is not just what school sport organizations and stuff of that nature pay. Your actual athletic departments and your departments,
Booster clubs, whatnot, that's.
everybody.
That
You
is
use a
correct.
bus, that's what you're paying. Don't matter if it is athletics.
Right.
Mr. Hargrove, this was over 10 years ago.
Yes, sir.
Jacko.
And, Mr.
Jacko
Morris
wants to
made
take a
that
trip, they've
reference
gotta
that
pay
we
it.
haven't changed that scale
Thank you, sir.
in that length of time. We had a discussion, I want to think it was in January's meeting.
For the longest, I was
About this.
school bus garage charging that money.
Yeah.
We're just circling money, swapping wallets.
The one thing that the blue column does not add, that we spoke a little bit about, was the $1 per mile. And we gasp at that a little bit, but if Ms. Peacock Hodge is a employee here and we send her to Murfreesboro to a conference, the state's mileage as well as ours, but we follow the state, she's gonna make 72.5 cents a mile. Well, our transport for our, but she's driving her car, her Maserati, she's not driving one of our buses. And as we get into our board meeting on Monday, Mr. Shores will show you the prices of the buses. So that extra quarter kind of goes towards the maintenance and the upkeep of those buses. Okay? Enter the next sheet. I did some comparisons. The top yellow line is, you can see the hourly wage there for our drivers, which is $14.32. We don't pay our drivers for mileage. And I did odd. I'm really an even person, but I did odd. I only picked the odd hours for a 5-hour trip, which is on this sheet that I first gave you, for a 7-hour trip, a 9-hour trip, and rarely 11-hour trip. Okay? So that yellow line shows you what our driver's gross pay is for those amount of hours. Underneath those, you can see other school systems, and I'm not sure who Franklin County uses.
They're contractors.
Okay.
Yep.
So you can kind of compare all of the school systems but one pay benefits. The school to the south of Crompton Creek is the only school system that has one employee that is an 8-hour employee that receives benefits. Okay? Other than that, none of the rest of their bus drivers, and believe it or not, they do have buses that run daily, or their benefits are not paid.
What school system was that again?
The one south of the creek,
What's the name of that?
I can't remember. Got a bunch of consonants and a bunch of vowels in it. Okay, moving on. All right, we had a board member that suggested a number, and that number, if you look in the gray, you can see that as far as the hourly wage. And then, as I looked at our numbers, my recommendation was 20, but my 20 came from the group number, not from the gross pay, okay? From the group number, not from the gross pay. If we increase our bus drivers' pay on these trips, trying to encourage and reward them, it moves the hourly wage from $14.32 to $17.15. And that 5-hour trip went from $71.60 to $85. I'm not going to insult you. That's almost a 20% increase. Below that, you can see where the $26 that was proposed and kind of how that affects. Now, I'm not pointing things out to shame or point out. My thing is, my recommendation, we're going to vote on what we think and what you nine think, and that's what we're going to do. Please hear me say that. But I did want to point out some of the differences. But in the bottom, that blue and that green, that kind of gives you an idea on what our organizations are going to end up paying for that field trip. And I spent an exorbitant amount of time in my short tenure here on trying to figure out how to lower fundraising and delete some things, so we're not out in our community asking for monies. But it ups, even a $3 increase, but look at the difference in the prices. I mean, you take a 5-hour trip, it's gone from $71 to $100 or $151, depends on where y'all land on that. So that kind of gives you some numbers to mull around and think about it. We want more bus drivers. Mr. Morris and I, we actually talked about this way back in at the end of July, but the world spun up on us a little bit. And remember, none of these numbers that you're looking at talk about the $1 per mile, which the gas price and our buses, you know, the value of those are pretty important. Does anybody have any questions about this sheet?
Our bus drivers, they get benefits as well, opportunity.
Yes, sir.
benefits, And they get benefits as well.
Yes, sir.
What does that benefit price? Just, I know it's hard to,
So I actually looked at that today,
Okay.
thinking that somebody might ask it. Last school year, with retirement and insurance and life insurance and medical and all that, we paid $679,000 for.
how does that break
benefits.
down on the hour? Like, is that value worth
most of the, how many drivers?
$6 an hour. Because what I'm getting at, while she's getting that number, what I'm getting at is 10 years ago, I couldn't hire nobody that could pass a drug test, but they had a CDL and didn't have a DUI for $17.15, 10 years ago.
Right. I understand. Our goal, and Tim, Mr. Morris and I have had this conversation, is the lure. At least get where we're not, you know.
I mean, obviously.
The happy medium in all of this is a balance.
Obviously, the benefit package helps,
Yes.
but we're still not there yet. But if you had a dollar value to what the benefits are worth, then you can kind of look at it as a total picture of what they are actually.
Sure.
Just rough calculation, around $14.65 an hour.
I feel like a lot of the bus drivers are choosing to do that because of those benefits. You know, that's a
Yes,
pretty
ma'am.
big incentive.
That's a huge lure.
Right. I don't see how Marshall County,
And Mr. Harper, did you say
Anybody
some of the
was-
counties, excuse me, Rita,
That's
are
okay.
not
So you're
paying any benefits?
No, sir. All of the counties do, well, other than, I can't speak for Warren and Franklin. Everybody, all those others do provide
Ben-
benefits, except for that place
That's
to the
Lincoln.
south that, and they only provide, benefits for one driver. The other drivers have no benefits.
So
That
they're-
one driver is their transportation head. He's there 8 hours. It's
So
just
the
a different.
the benefit package currently is close to about a little over $29 an hour. When you take $14 of benefits and add it to $14.32 of pay for 4 hours, right?
Don't forget this is trips. This is not.
This
This
is
is
not,
not
not routes. These are trips.
Two different.
Field
two different-
trips, ball games.
Well, I thought that's where we were coming up with our hourly wage that we were even
They
considering
get
for
their
trips.
benefits for the 4 hours they work during the day. Completely separate than the
Okay, so the benefits
Or
and
for the 4 hours. When you come to work for me for 4 hours, 2 in the morning.
you get
to
those
2 you
benefits,
get
the
benefits,
14,
yes,
and then they get paid how much for those 4 hours?
For a 4-hour trip?
Yeah.
It's on
three,
that,
yeah.
it's
Two
on
and-
that salary schedule that you have. So that, the salary schedule is the daily rate.
That one? Okay, that's the
The one that has
21,
everybody on it.
The 21 to 29.
okay.
Right.
And you don't have any troubles with that, correct?
I would like for it to go up, but I know that we're, you know.
And please hear me
And
say, our
you
trip,
can't separate me from everybody else, because then it's gonna start a cascade of dominoes falling. Is you did it for him, then you need to do it for me. Everybody needs to be, if we do raises there, I still feel like everybody needs to be treated equally.
So they're around a 2109 to 2966 plus the 14 for a 4-hour
Yes.
deal.
Depending on your
Okay.
years.
But our conversation here today,
our trip.
field trips, basketball games,
Yes.
whatever.
Yes, sir. And my recommendation is we improve it, and maybe it will lure more drivers or have more drivers interested. It'd be more worth their bang, but there is a delicate balance because those costs, it doesn't, we could pay them $100 an hour. It affects district salary zero. I mean.
Well, I'm
it-
just trying to figure out how overtime don't come into play. Call it overtime. Call it
Jump into
overtime.
your 40
Figure them
hours.
on a time and a half basis of what their scale is in our system.
You jump into, see right now, they're working, they're based on 4 hours per day, but to be full-time, as you know, you have to have 40 hours. Well, they're only getting 20 hours in a week, so they have another 20 hours they can actually, before they start hitting overtime.
Well, that's if you do, I mean, I pay my men and I charge on crank jobs every day, anything over 8 is overtime. I pay my men anything over 8 is overtime. But I'm talking about trying to keep a crane operator on retention. I'm not talking, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you can do that however you wish to do that. You just can't go over 40 hours without mandatorily paying them overtime.
And that's where I've gotten in trouble a couple of times, is I had nobody that would take the trips, and I had Melissa who would take that trip, and it wound up putting her over 40 hours.
Yeah.
I know work sessions for people to bounce off ideas. what would be wrong with having a position that is just for, trios, couple? There may be people that don't want to drive a daily school bus route, but they would be willing to drive the school bus for athletic programs and things like that. Because I go back to Bobby, he drove for, what's the other school, not Riverville, but
Oakland.
Oakland. He wasn't their regular bus driver. He went through the, the same screening and everything, and he just drove their buses for the, I think it was the basketball program. But, I mean, because I can see why a bus driver, they're working all week and they're driving these kids and they have no incentive. I mean, there might be people out there that possibly would just want to do that. And then you'd have somebody dedicated just to after-school hours. That's just a thought.
Good idea.
And that's our comments on luring. You want it, you don't want our SSOs to get hit in the head,
Right.
our fund rate, but you want it good enough to where it's, hey, that's worth it
Right,
to me.
right.
And that's what you all are gonna have to figure out where that number is.
And it may not be worth anybody to do that. But, I mean, it's something to
I
think
just don't
about.
want to
'Cause,
run the ones that I have off.
Right. I mean, maybe give them,
Yeah. I
right.
just don't want to lose
But,
the
if you
ones
don't
that
get
I
into
have.
like you wouldn't be getting into overtime and all
Yes,
that
ma'am.
sort of thing.
And, just like you did with the conduct, a little discussion here with everybody and this and that, and talking with these coaches on these athletic programs, really kind of pushing them to manning that or pay. You might get some of them to start really focusing on trying to retain and get their CDLs back and things of that nature, so that their football team ain't having to pay for buses, because they got a couple coaches that are cleared and good to go, for example.
All they have to do is pay for mileage. But, I think there might have been a little misconception between when this was discussed in January, in the $26 an hour that was proposed was basically to take the place of the $16.65 per hour that's being charged now. So, ultimately, it wouldn't be costing $30.33 an hour for that driver. I mean, it would be the 26, that you have in the gray
Yes,
should
sir.
be the same thing down here in the green. The $26 an hour instead of the $16.65, which is the current, would be for a 3-hour, or I think it's what it is per hour now that the considered driver's pay.
Right, well, you're talking about on the yellow side. Right now, this yellow side is $14.32.
Right, but the $49.90 though,
Right.
that is,
The group pay?
The
is that
group
what it's-
pay,
how it's
yes.
headed?
yes.
So really what you're doing is you're talking about moving the gray down to the.
Where the green is,
He's on this sheet.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're on the same,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, the 30, 33, that's that wasn't, when I proposed the 26, it was to take the place of the 16.65 per hour,
I
which
gotcha.
was the
The blue
49.90.
number. I
Yes.
understand.
So, I realize that with the, you go back and you start adding taxes and retirement and everything else, it's, it blows the number plumb out of water. Yeah, I mean, just getting, just trying to get,
But that's not, what he just said, not considered in what we're talking about right now, this field trip stuff, because if they're a driver, they're already covered with all that $14.
No, this is.
right,
this
but what
is-
I'm saying though, but in the group,
Yeah.
they take out for the taxes, then, and then your drivers pay. I mean, they'll still have to pay taxes, but what I'm saying is that $26, you don't go back and add the taxes, which puts it back up to $30.33 an hour.
Yeah, so this group pay, it is a good point.
Yeah, group pay is the
Group
number
pay
we
is
want
paying
to,
for the insurance
Yeah.
for
yeah, it's the
flights.
number
I thought the
we
insurance
want
was
to
covering
be
the first
working
time
with.
on-
And our
normal
insurance
4
thing
hours
too
a
is,
day.
is all of our employees, everybody in the school system gets paid insurance. They don't?
All full-time employees.
All full-time employees do though. Correct?
All full-time.
All full-time employees gets
We
paid,
do have other part-time that do not get insurance.
right. But we're all paying, it's full-time, they all pay the same insurance.
If they're
Whether it's bus
full-time,
driver or
they
teachers, everybody pays the
do not
same
get
price.
insurance. If they're part-time, unless they're a bus driver, they do not.
But we're talking about bus drivers here though.
Well, they're, yeah.
As y'all think about it, and we discuss this further, there's a number, and it's gotta be a number that is not hurting our fundraising, in my humble opinion. It's gotta be a number that's rewarding our bus drivers to a point, and to speak to Ms. Frida, we're luring people from other places to come, wanna come drive for us because it's lucrative. I mean, they don't do it for the excitement of the drive. It's gotta make a
Tim-
dent in their.
We're
Tim, what-
discussing, let me
What do you
ask-
think, Tim, on the hourly?
I would like to know if you gave the pay raises percentage-wise from 2012 to these numbers, I'd like to know where it comes up. Because, you know, we haven't raised it since 2012, and I don't know I have no working idea what the percentage of increase was each year. It would be interesting.
Right, our bus drivers since 2016 and 17 have had a 38% increase. And I'm gonna tell you something, this is something we can all be proud of. Is it where it needs to be? No. But our bus drivers have had a 38% increase. Our custodians have had a 40% increase. Maintenance, 38%. Clerical workers, 38%. Teacher assistants, 41%. Cafeteria workers, 38%. In 10 years, their pay has gone up roughly an average of 39 point whatever percent in
And
10 years.
We're talking about field trips.
That is correct.
We're not talking about.
Well, that got brought up, I just wanted
Well,
to.
I'm sorry, but I was bouncing
You're
back and
staying
forth
focused, yes, sir.
between What are we talking about here?
I tell you what I've done, Mr. Hanchard, if you take the high pay and the low pay and average them together, it winds up being at 25 something.
25.46.
Yeah.
$22 and something for the low end, and get the average out of that, it's right at $25.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was trying to get to.
And that's the one that I gave you here on this sheet right here. I started with the 25 and also dropped down to the $21.
Yes, sir.
I will work with whatever y'all pull out.
Yes, sir.
And I will be appreciative of anything that you do give them.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to, and I go back to again, I just don't want to be the guy that has to call a week ahead of time and tell you that I'm gonna have to cancel your field trip.
Yes, sir.
I've never done that before. In my whole time down there, I've never canceled a field trip.
But you're the one that's hiring them, Mr. Morris,
Yes.
right? And so when you go to hire a man or a bus driver or a woman, whenever you tell them that this is what it's gonna take to persuade you to come to work for Coffee County Schools and drive a school bus, that's what you feel like would be a better,
I will tell you this, we pay them $25 an hour for summer school.
yes, sir.
Okay, I'm getting confused here.
I
You're
bet
talking
you-
about the $25 for the
Trip.
trips, not their base salary?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
We do
Yeah,
pay
we're on-
them-
we're on
that's
field
paid
trip.
summer
I
school
finally
for a
got
month
that.
for us, flight
Yeah.
trips to
Yes,
Mississippi,
sir.
they get 25, but like I said, whatever you, the nine, come up with, I'll work with, I will do the best I
No,
can.
no more.
Fully
And I
understand.
echo that sentiment. I mean, that, y'all, you gotta figure it out, but for every action, there's and I don't wanna play devil's advocate, cause it sounds like I'm against, and I'm not. I wanna lure more bus drivers. We've had this conversation. We started it in July, but it comes at a cost, and that costs are passed down to our organization and our parents. Cause those are the ones that are going to pay for,
Yeah,
the
these
blue
groups-
line.
These groups are paying for the insurance.
that is correct.
They're paying, I mean, we're hoping these groups have to have us and pay these numbers because our groups are turning around reimbursing us back for their insurance and everything else with a $49 and $66.
No,
Correct?
no.
Group number
Okay, well then explain this stupid ass thing and quit laughing.
The group number is what the board pays for their social security, Medicare, and retirement. It doesn't include any of their medical, dental, vision, life insurance.
In this number proposed, we charge these
For
groups
field trips.
for field trips.
Correct. It's not in there.
It's not in that, okay.
That's
Still just gonna cost $49.90 minimum
Yes, sir.
per hour, right?
But you go back to this, it's gonna cost the parents, they're having to transport them. You know, I think parents would appreciate having, clubs and organizations and athletic programs that would have the opportunity for their kids to be transported,
We,
on a bus.
we do, Ms. Frida, hold on.
Okay.
We do have organizations that they don't. And this is not an attack on our bus fleet and our transportation, but we do have organizations right now that, hey, we'll meet you in McMinnville. You
Oh,
need to be
yeah.
there at
I
4
know,
o'clock.
I know.
Because they just, the money's not.
It's just not there. And
Right.
fundraising might not be good for, even though we haven't addressed or attacked fundraising,
Right.
some groups and some teams and stuff just don't fundraise a lot.
And Ms. Jones, most of our problem with the athletics is because we don't have enough drivers.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not that we don't have the
This all
buses,
plays
it's
a
not the
circle.
cost, it's not any of that. It just comes down, we don't have the drivers for them to drive, because I know some baseball games, they have to leave at 2 o'clock. That's during a route, and you can't lose a driver during a route.
That's what I'm saying, maybe
Yeah.
there needs a position that, a full-time position for somebody that's after hours and during the middle of the day.
And that's an idea, that's a thought.
Just don't take one of mine.
And Ms. Jones, one
And
of
I
the
have
things that,
nobody in mind, but I'm thinking, if you look at Marshall County, if you look at Lincoln County, I don't see how in the world they get anybody to drive a bus for $7.25 an hour. I mean,
Thank you,
they'd
Mr.
have to be
Ballard.
just driving for insurance.
Yeah.
It is difficult. It is difficult. And the conundrum, I'm putting you in the round room and asking you to kneel in the corner. The conundrum is, we gotta reward our bus drivers and make it lucrative, but we can't price ourselves out of the other, because there's a balance. But it's gotta be lucrative enough to where we want people driving for us, and it's worth the rub. But then, I mean, we can pay them, but
So if we pay the $25 per hour that that you think is a good price to pay, compared to what we're paying now at 16, what's the price per student difference? Is that,
Well, it's like I showed you on this sheet that I had yellow on it.
yes, sir.
From 1665 to $25, okay? And I did this by 60 kids, because I
Yeah.
thought that was a low number.
Yes, sir. That's what I thought.
For 0 to 3 hours, it's 41 cents.
So we're looking at 41 cents per student.
Yes, for 4 hours, it's 56 cents. Now, this is 60 kids now.
and the
What
other
is
is,
it?
don't forget what Mr. Gilly said, and that is correct. You have your athletics that are taking, it could be, football might be one trip a week, but you might get into basketball, might have 3 or 4 trips a week, or baseball, now baseball's not been able to because of the timing. But you do run into that, and that's gonna come from their boosters, normally.
Or inside of the athletic account at the school.
Right.
Yeah.
However you wanna say it, it's the athletic
However they
groups.
can figure out how to pay it.
Right.
I believe it's an 80% increase. Is that right, Ms.
So
Milson?
we're talking about
If we went to
$24.60.
Yes.
And I can go back tomorrow and put all this back into a spreadsheet for the 1665 minus the 25 and divide it by 40 if you want me to, and send it to all y'all on the
What-
same sheet.
I think
Well,
the
that-
cost is plain to see, and all of us can agree
Yeah.
that the cost is just gonna have to be something we're gonna have to figure out how to do. I think what everybody's concerned here and tensions is about is the state we're in with it, how much it does cost, and how much we are putting on people to have to pay and come up with and do.
I understand.
I don't think the actual cost to make this continue and keep happening is going to be that. I mean, it is going to be a hit, obviously, with a system this size, but you've got to do something.
Where are the most trips? Because I don't see buses carrying, maybe the football team, but they don't carry the basketball team, so
No, ma'am,
is
I
it
can't-
field
I cannot
trips
get to
that do that?
ma'am. Anything until 4:30, I cannot get to you.
Right, so
Until
that's what I'm
4:30
saying, there's nothing
afternoon,
after school that's,
I can't service you
right,
at all.
and that's sad.
I just don't have enough people though.
Right.
I mean, I'm sitting in the seat
Right.
every day, so we're not late. That way, we're not like Warren County. I appear having to double up a route. If I need to drive, I'm gonna drive. I will not have a doubled up route. Your kid needs to be at school just like mine does. My kid needs to eat breakfast like yours does. I shouldn't be late, and that's why I do what I do.
So what we're talking about here is $25 for field trips,
Yes, ma'am.
basically, because it doesn't have anything to do with basketball?
No, ma'am.
Okay,
Well, it's any,
Part of that
so
too.
there, but,
I mean, it would.
Yeah, it is.
But there-
This number
But
is
I don't
what,
see any
Yeah,
school
if I get
buses
enough
pulling up.
people in there, I would love to carry the basketball team
Right.
again, because a Coffee County school bus should be sitting
That's what
outside
I-
somebody's high school. And
Right.
it should be a good,
And I
huge place,
agree.
and it ought to be
we
advertised.
might
as
even
Coffee
paint it
County
red,
school.
mightn't we? Put Raiders on it. Have that one guy, because I really like Frida's idea. If we had just a couple of people that took care of our athletics that were afternoon shift, and it ain't necessarily athletics.
Yeah.
FFA going to competition with
Right,
15 or
right.
20 people, because you can't carry them in a SUV. There you go. See what I'm saying? I mean, so these guys are kind of dedicated to our extracurricular activities that we,
It might be
and
something to
the
enjoy.
fees they need to pay a little more fees, but they'll have a Coffee County bus and the ability to have a Coffee.
well, at the $25 an hour, the 40, if you're carrying 40 students, that, you're looking at 74 cents a kid additional cost.
For the school bus, for the
For,
field
for,
trips.
for the trip, yeah, yeah, that's 74 cents a kid. That's based on 40 kids taking a bus, that's the $25 an hour.
And a lot of
so-
those kids would,
Would love to pay 74
would
cents.
qualify for fee waivers. So we could use some of that fee waiver money to
Right.
pay.
And I was
Well,
gonna
exactly.
ask, do free and reduced lunch students, do they pay for field trips? No. So their parents aren't gonna be affected by an
Whoa,
increase?
whoa.
That cost is passed on. Yes.
Okay.
Somebody's
So,
paying it.
but it would be us.
Yeah.
Well, that's where the fee waiver money should
Yeah.
Right.
be.
Right, but it
Now-
wouldn't be the parents, it
Right.
would be us.
Right.
The other thing is, do the math on a 14 team. You got 12 on your basketball team. That price goes up quite a bit. It's not 40. That's if with groups
agree.
of
We
40.
need smaller
There are-
buses for
Yes,
smaller
and we
groups. I
have
agree.
smaller groups that do that, and that cost is much greater.
If you're gonna bus them.
Exactly, but we want them on a bus, because
Yeah.
we want them on a Coffee County bus that represents us.
We need a
and-
small bus and a big bus for all athletics. Just run them around. Keep them busy.
Well,
Cover middle school games, cover high school games, cover this, cover that.
Mr. Tim, I have a question for you. All right, we've approached the idea of hiring after-school drivers. But if we made their pay $25 an hour, is there a chance that your regular drivers are gonna want, your lower pay regular drivers are gonna wanna leave the regular job and come over and take that position? Is
No,
that
because
gonna
I won't
create
let
a
them do
problem?
that.
Okay,
Well, they won't
And
be
they wouldn't be
getting,
getting insurance.
they wouldn't be getting
Yeah,
benefits.
you wouldn't,
Okay.
yeah, and you can't leave me to go do that.
okay.
Uh-uh.
I just didn't-
I'm not up here discussing that at all. No, that will not be at all.
I just didn't want to create more
No, ma'am.
problems for you.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Okay.
What would be, in your opinion, just your opinion, because I feel like you have a better grasp on this than probably anybody in here, but will our field trips, at what point, what is the breaking point in pay where our field trips are jeopardized, in your opinion? We've talked about anywhere from what, $16 an hour to $26 an hour. I think all of us want our schools to be able to take their field trips like usual. And so I'm just asking, in your opinion, what is that sweet spot
To
between
get everybody to come, to get to have enough people to do it,
Yes, and with confidence that you're gonna have people, in your opinion. That's a hard question,
At
I
least
know.
$23.
Okay,
At
minimum,
least.
minimum. Okay,
Well, the thing about it, you're a new driver, first-year driver, zero experience, you know, they're making $21.90 an hour, you know, at the bare minimum. You know, that's $22 an hour. You know, a driver that's got 25 years of experience is making $29 an hour. You're gonna ask your experienced drivers to give up money to go take a trip? You know, I mean, my thing is, it needs to be a amount that is, you know, no, your experienced drivers, you know, a 25-year driver, you're not gonna pay them $29, you know, go take that trip. But it needs to be something that's somewhere more reasonable, and it does not need to be below basically the $22 an hour, because that's what you're paying a first-year driver to drive.
You're talking about a percentage on your normal, look at it as a percentage on your normal pay you receive now.
No, I'm just saying select a number somewhere between the 21.90 and the 29.01 is what they're normally making an hour, you know. So whether it's $22 an hour, $23 an hour, $25 an hour, you know, whatever. But, you know, they should not be making less than what they will make driving, you know, a new driver with zero experience, what they make an hour driving a bus.
And he's brought up a great point, but I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but it's different driving 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon, because you're running routes during that, making that hourly pay. When you drive on a 4-hour field trip, you're not driving 4 hours.
No, but the thing that you got to remember though is you know, when you're running a route, most of the time, unless you're transporting from your last pickup and you're running down the highway to the school, you know, you're running at a slow speed. When you take field trips, you're jumping out here on the interstate with 100,000 idiot drivers out here, and you're running 65 to 70 miles an hour with a bus full of kids. You know, the safety factor, that the liability that's put on that driver at that point, trying to watch everything around them, you know.
It does while they're driving,
that's
but
a
the
big,
other time, if they go to a ball game, they're watching a JV game, a varsity game,
Yeah.
varsity. That's,
yeah, they're sitting, but I mean, you know, thing is, you gotta pay people to get them to do.
And another
Big things.
small benefit, whenever you're doing a trip, normally there is a teacher or coach in the back watching the kids, whereas whenever you're on a route, you're having to take care of those kids as well as drive. So that's a little difference too. Just want to bring that up.
So a good happy point, medium point would be the $25 an hour.
That's the average between the two. On the sheet that I gave you of people I have that drive for me, none of them are
Four.
seniors. None of them are seniors. Nobody stopped out.
Yeah.
Nobody at $29 an hour is on my trip sheet right now, that period. And here's the thing, Ronnie Meeker works on small engines. He's leaving probably a $50 an hour job to drive the school bus for us. Jim Medler builds houses. He's leaving that. Randy Clark does some things too, and he fishes. I don't know how much money you put on fishing, but that would be high to make. They leave to do these things for the kids and stuff, so it's just, but like I said, whatever y'all do, I will support. I will work with you. I'll do the best I can.
you handled that very well, Tim. I appreciate you. Hey, and we appreciate what the bus drivers do. Please hear my responses are no.
Can I ask one more thing?
Yeah.
Just tear this Band-Aid right off. Can you at some point, or maybe Ms. Melson, if we know, what does groups and athletics and things of that nature, what the annual average income from those groups and things are? It comes back into their charge. How much are they charged
So
currently?
like what they send up here, like what we get back.
Well,
from-
what money is generated by,
So we get, so like if it's a field trip, it will come to central office.
okay,
If it's related to a a sporting team that has a balance at the school, it stays at the school. So like they get I'm sorry, all of it really, all of it comes back, excuse me, I was thinking, the school pays out of their athletic fund to up here. So all of it goes into a, revenue account, which is,
Averages a year. What does that
I
account
can look
average?
at, I wanna say last year was around 60,000,
That's all.
but I don't quote me on that because that's what, it's either 40 or 60, I can't remember, but it's somewhere in that range, let's say that. I can look it up, I just don't know.
I have one question too. The dollar per mile comes back to you, to the general fund, not to transportation.
That's correct.
Comes back, so I.
That's fine.
Yeah.
No matter where it goes.
Yeah.
How much revenue is generated from
Sports teams.
sports teams, field trips, DECA, FFA, whoever uses our buses outside of morning pickup and evening pickup.
I'm gonna run a report.
That's fine.
Well,
And I don't have to have it right now.
Just out of curiosity, Tim, out of our 58 drivers, how many of them are are below the $25 an hour range?
That I'd have to get back to you on that.
Thank you.
I have another thought too. We're supposed to be paying the fee waiver for parents in our elementary for sure. Isn't that included in that? Or, I mean, parents should be happy that they're not having to pay all this other.
Well, to speak to Miss Holly made a great comment a while ago about free and reduced. Free and reduced is gone. And there are TISA dollars tied to how we figure it now. And I'm kind of ashamed to tell you that our state is the hardest state in our country right now to get economically disadvantaged label, which also is accompanied by dollars.
Right.
Your question about fee waiver, for the amount of fee waiver money, now this is whenever I was at East Coffee, and I'm going off the back in that information. If we use fee waiver to pay for field trips and paid for everybody that was on fee waiver, they would, and that's all we used to pay for the field trip, we wouldn't be going on field trips.
No.
There wasn't enough money in fee waiver to take care of the field trip for everybody that was on fee waiver. So we have to put it out there to ask those parents to pay for that field trip for their child to go. And those that can will, and those that can't would always let us know. And we would figure out some way, fee waiver or a PTO or the school fund, some way to get that child to go. But if we use the fee waiver for all the fee waiver students, we wouldn't have been going on field trips.
No, what I wasn't talking about the fee waiver that's provided by the state or the government.
Okay.
I was talking about us as a body, we voted to not have fees. And we're eating them up. We're eating them ourselves. You know, they're not any out there anymore. Where every year there was a fee that was charged to every child. You know, we would get the list of each school of what their
Yes,
fees
ma'am.
were. So what mine's saying is that we're not, you know, it's both are fee waivers. One of them is the local, you might say, fee waivers, because the parents aren't having to pay
Yes,
those
ma'am.
fees now. And we've forgotten that. We're, you know, the school system is paying for that,
And for-
not the parents.
Right.
Right.
So when you come back to this is kind of minor. It's not a lot
Yeah.
of money to be
Yeah,
put on.
That's what I was saying too. You're paying $24 for a whole trip.
Yeah, it's,
I mean, there's no other fees,
From-
you know, there's no
I
other
mean-
fees being
We've
charged.
spent
Nothing for
more
school.
money on other stuff. My point is,
49 now.
you know, we spent more money on other stuff to get other
0
stuff
to 3 hours.
bailed out of stuff.
3 hours.
That's
0
not,
hours, we're not paying.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but that's just for that trip. I mean, if
No, I
it's any
understand that.
longer,
well, how many trips do we take a year, would you say?
25 for the driver.
but
How many, Tim?
a
How many trips
lot.
would you say we take?
Okay.
We're transporting kids all over this grand state and beyond.
I would say as far as like your elementary, maybe each grade level, 1 to 2 per year. Then you have all of your athletics, and then your DECAs and all those But as far as your elementary, probably 1 to 2 per year.
We're only paying.
Over
the
100?
driver.
Okay.
Paying the driver 20.
There's
How
north,
how much money do we allot
With the
for
rest.
taking care of all the fees in the schools?
It's a dollar amount by
A school, a student?
that is on fee waiver.
And that keeps the parents from having to pay that out of their pocket.
I get an amount from Cotton that says all the kids are on free reduced. And that.
I think, what I'm talking about is the general school. Have I lost my mind? Y'all know what I'm talking
I
about?
do.
You're talking
We
about
voted,
like
we
science
voted
fees,
not
social
to charge
studies
fees to parents.
Yeah,
And I think some of the fees had to be charged at the high school because it was.
right.
And it was
So
with
how
band
much
and all that
money
stuff.
are we,
Yeah.
how much money are we using for that? You see what I'm saying? The parents aren't paying that.
We've been going at this for an
Yes,
hour
sir.
and a half.
Mr. Ballard, I make a recommendation, and please hear me say this, wherever the middle is, and y'all are gonna be the ones that decide it, wherever the middle is, because there is give and take, I hope that, and we want our bus drivers happy. We also want our community members happy, and we're not fundraising. It's a delicate balance, and that number's what's right and what feels right. Y'all are gonna be the ones that decide that, okay? But I recommend that we take about a 10-minute break.
Develop a transportation committee.
I would recommend that, Mr. Morris, don't leave without any pizza.
Hey, that sounds like a good idea.
Mr. Morris, thank you very much for your time. It's probably a lot more than you do. Well, it's really. All right, we are back. So, next item on the agenda is Mr. Hargrove, the complaint form.
Early in the meeting or prior to the meeting, I handed out a copy of a proposed complaint form. This does not pertain to our employees. Our employees have a well-defined grievance procedure in our policy. These are for parents. I think this document could help us. It helps ensure on some legal compliance things as far as IDEA or special ed and civil rights. I think it helps us show our due diligence with our investigation of things. It provides structure and a written record of things. And also, I think it holds us accountable and ensures the following of the chain of command we have in place. It just gives us a track record, and we can document things and try to show where we've either resolved the problem or what we've done and improve outcomes. It's just a lot better communication. We have a lot of coaches that have something called a 24-hour rule, and if Mr. Hansard is upset with me at the end of a ball game, well, he's got to wait 24 hours to come see me. Sometimes our heads get away from us. This is the same thing. For someone to make a formal complaint, they're going to have to get in their car, hopefully time, well thought out. They get here, they have to request it, and it's just a complaint form, and you're more than welcome to take 2 or 3 minutes or 4 or 5 or whatever you need to peruse through this. This document can change, recommendations are welcome.
I like it because it's also accountability for the person that receives the complaints.
Yes, ma'am. It holds us accountable.
Yes, exactly.
Where would a parent or student or community member get one of these?
Central office.
So they have to come up here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, they couldn't get it online?
No, ma'am. There's your cool-off time.
Yeah.
So only a hard copy?
There's a lot
Do
of
what?
people-
Only a hard copy?
Hard copy.
Okay.
There's a lot of people that would do better not coming up here angry to pick this up when they
Right.
could download it themselves. Maybe they have to turn it in physical form, but could download
Okay.
it too.
Maybe they,
That way they don't storm.
yeah, that's what I was
calling
gonna
out
say.
there.
Might be
I
better
want
if they
that
didn't.
form.
I mean, I get it.
That way you can take your time and write it neatly, and you have to turn it in.
Is this something we would need to approve at a board meeting?
I'm not exactly sure where we stand, Dutton. I just wanted you to be aware that we're
Okay.
looking at implementing it. And I think putting up some time barriers for folks to be able to, for calmer minds, provides us that. And
I like it, though. It's really
Kind of
cool.
like that, you got the right to remain silent, not necessarily the ability.
right, I got you.
Also, a lot of times when you feel like something has gone wrong, within a 24-hour or even 48-hour period, more facts come to light. And it's better to have all of the facts before you,
Right.
and then you might decide you don't even need to make a complaint.
That's a great point.
And it's very detailed. Sometimes when we're angry, we just run our mouths.
Yep.
This will give us a chance to be more thought out about it.
Yep. Or it could escalate it. It could just build.
We might need more lines on here.
I got you. You're gonna have to, they'll have to write concisely.
It's a good idea, though.
What if, I'm just throwing out a scenario, what if a parent or community member or somebody came up here wanting to complain to you? Are you gonna say, you gotta fill this out before I'm gonna talk to you? I'm just.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so they would have to sit in the foyer and fill this out before you would talk to them?
Well, I mean, I read through it. I mean, we'll set up an appointment and I'll meet with them.
Okay,
And also, all of that, it will be documented on this. When I met with them, what I did, what we did, when was
right,
that?
and I see this is a good thing.
Yes,
But what
ma'am.
I'm thinking is, or say someone came in and they thought it was an emergency that they talked with you, this is gonna be the step, they can't, in other words, you're gonna say, no, I'm not gonna talk to you tonight or today. I'm just, this
No,
is,
no, ma'am, and those are great things we can discuss. I just think, there are a ton of variables on
Right.
emergency, and
And
what
you
is an
would use your
emergency to
discretion.
Mr. Coons may be a different emergency to,
well, maybe you could just use your discretion and say, you
Yeah.
know, look, this is something that really needs to be put down where I can understand it better. If it's somebody in there saying, well, so-and-so's brought something to school, and I need to talk to you about it, and I've heard this. You know, you would use your discretion to say, well,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
don't think we need to fill one of these out. I need to talk to you right now. We can fill it out while we're sitting here or something.
a lot of my experience with this in another school district, cooler heads prevail once they start writing and they get into it.
Right, right.
And
But I just don't
I've
want
seen
us to
people
come
come in
across.
and get them and toss them out in the trash after
Yeah.
they're halfway
I
through.
couldn't
Right, I
imagine
agree.
I mean, I can see somebody coming in
the
saying,
daily,
Yeah.
people just coming in and, hey, I want to talk to you a minute.
There's
You've
not a
got
lot of
bigger
appointment
fish to
setting,
fry,
it's mostly,
schools to visit.
How many have you had this week that's been,
I had 2 phone calls today.
okay. So are you gonna have them fill out a complaint before you talk to them on the phone?
For one of the calls, I'm not sure, if it's that, but I'd say it's probably have them fill out a sheet. And the other one's not. It was resolved,
Right.
well, it's actually not resolved, but we're in the process of resolving it. And in that aspect, we have documentation.
Right, and I think this is good, but I just think we need to make sure that you've got
Yes,
the
ma'am.
right to use your discretion.
Yes.
Because I know you've got enough skills about you that you know
Yes.
people that you need to bring on into your office and talk with. I just don't want us to get the looking like that we're not gonna be talking to anybody or listening to anybody until they formally fill out something.
I'm not a very good hider, Miss Farina. I haven't hid well
Do you have many visitors a week?
most, some, yes, sir. Few, sometimes not, sometimes 2, it just,
Are people usually, do they feel comfortable sharing like their name and all that? Is that gonna be an issue? Like, do they
My-
want to have a private, I'm not gonna tell you my name, but I wanna tell you this?
right.
what they say
I
to you?
struggle with the anonymous.
Yeah.
If you've got something that's bothering you and wearing on your heart that much, I'll listen to you, I'll sit down and we'll go through this together. I mean, we're a people business.
Yeah.
And I think Ms. Frida brought up a great point. It doesn't insulate, but it does provide
You gotta
an
raise your-
insulation if need be. And sometimes folks just need to cool off. And then it's awesome to talk with them. They just want to be heard, and that's okay.
Do we need to somehow get this in policy on how this is handled?
I'll look and see if there are other school systems that incorporate this portion into their policy, the complaint form, but, I mean, on the grievance end, our policy, our employee grievance procedure is well outlined in policy. Maybe I'll look at that. It's a great point, Ms. Beth.
I believe this would just be considered a procedure
Yes, sir.
more than something to be in policy, but, on that, what's the procedure once a parent turns this in, fills this out? Does it come directly to you? Does it, I
Yes,
mean, that's,
And we haven't done a dry drill on this, but I believe the young lady that sits out in that front desk, it will go straight from her hands to my hands.
okay.
And also, I like it. It gives me a reference. It gives me something to, you
Put
know.
another basket on your desk.
It does. It starts another stack, but it just gives me some reference points and, there's a conclusion. And that's a hard question sometimes. I mean, Ms. Jones, what are you wanting out of this conversation? What is your goal? Well, they have to write that down, and it helps guide how we deal with people, I just think it's a good practice, and
are these
I just
kept,
want y'all to be aware.
Right.
are these
I can see
kept?
where this could, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Okay.
I was just gonna ask, are these kept private or, because if you've got somebody listen out a complaint or an issue in detail, you know, they might want to be reassured that this would not be shared, or, you know, is it entered into any software anywhere? It's just
Stays in my office.
a piece of paper?
That's right,
Okay,
in a file.
okay.
What if this was someone that wasn't efficient in filling out forms and writing down their thoughts? Could you do it, I mean, could somebody do that? I mean, I'm.
Right. What if it's,
I think
out
I'd
there.
help them if they were unable of writing,
I'd look at them as I'm gonna deal with or file 13.
but yeah, I mean, we've got to use judgment,
Right.
good judgment. It's, I'm not building a barrier.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, and I just don't want the
I just
community
think
to
it,
think that that's what we're doing, you
Yeah.
know?
But
Because
it
that was
also
one
holds
thing
us
that we got
accountable.
complaints about, was
Right.
that, no, it wasn't open, you know? And you can't just be wide open
Right.
when everybody walks in the door. But-
and you know something, Mr. Smith comes to you, and I've got a problem, and you've listened to Mr. Smith, and we're on the second time, and now the third time, Mr. Smith, if you go to the central office and fill out one of those complaint forms, I bet you the director will
Right.
call
This-
you
This
back.
would be a tool for, like if somebody came to you. or
Yes, ma'am.
Someone.
Yeah,
and
that's
say,
a good
"Hey,
point, because
this,"
there is a
yeah.
lot of grandparents raising kids now.
Right.
Yeah. So true. And so you crafted this, thank you. Looks good. And Holly just brought a point, mentioned a point. Should we get a copy of this in Spanish? Or,
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Be a language barrier.
Yep. And Mr. Cordell, I'd be lying if I said I created this. I gave a template or an outline of what I wanted in it.
Right.
And we have a nice lady by the name of Melissa Westmoreland that came up with this. So all the kudos go to, she
Wow.
created it. I just kind of told her what I'd like to see in it, and she took it and ran with it.
wow, looks great, thank you.
I got a question. I noticed on here, you know, the relationship underneath there, you got employee. If an employee's got a complaint, don't they have a different
They do.
course of action that they can
They
go,
do.
so they don't have to go through? This is more or less for parents than it is.
Well, that's
For an
probably a typo,
employee.
and we can get that removed. But the other thing is, it lets me know that Miss Matthews, that teaches over there at the elementary school, came in with a complaint. Hey, we have a formal agreement, you know, or through her chain of command, I can direct her like I need to if she's one of our employees.
Right.
It
We have a
helps.
grievance policy.
Yeah.
Right, I know we do. I mean,
Line
but that's
that
what
out.
I'm saying is this is more for parents and guardians and students
Yes, sir.
than it is for employees or,
It could be a community member. It doesn't
right.
matter. Yeah.
Well, I think it would be good for an employee, because a lot of times somebody might fill out a complaint on paper and turn it in and might not feel comfortable going and confronting somebody.
We do have one for.
well, the only thing about the employee is a lot of employees will be afraid of retribution, so they're not gonna
Yeah,
put
they
their
will.
name up there.
Right.
Right.
What, you already have this for employees. Everything for employees is already here. Employees have a form they can fill out, and they do have a grievance process.
If y'all have any suggestions, don't hesitate to email me, and I love to listen. Y'all have already given me rewriting me in some ways, you just don't know it yet. Mr. Ballard?
All right,
Give you 2 thumbs up.
on to policy 6.708, awards and scholarships. And I don't remember who put this on.
Okay, this was a conversation that we had a couple of months ago, and most districts have just stopped carrying this policy. It just talks about, and you all were present last spring, and I want to thank, I was kind of up here a time or two in May, and the 3-hour event at our high school where we do our scholarship recognition. I mean, you can look at the policy. We're going to be us, and we celebrate our academics. We celebrate those in our elementary schools, in our middle schools, and our high schools. That's the business of celebrating what our kids do. A lot of school systems don't have this policy, and we don't do it because it's in policy. We do it because that's our business. So I think just dropping the policy
So your recommendation is to
Yes,
drop
sir.
this policy, and that's what we're discussing here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
If I remember correctly, I apologize, Mr. Gilly, but I want to thank Mr. Parsley and Ms. Frida had this conversation the last time it came up. But go ahead, sir.
I don't think we need to drop this policy.
Okay?
There's a couple good points in there, one of them being number 2, item number 2 on line 6. You drop that right there, we could be giving awards away for ideological things that we don't necessarily agree with. And I don't think I think that we definitely need a policy that says we can't do that.
Gives us some
And we
protection.
stay out of that, that you've got some protective measures to keep this clean and keep it right.
So duly noted.
We just got a little bit of criteria here that you must meet to do this. And if we have it in policy, we protect all of our schools, elementary through high school.
Well enough.
with a-
Great point.
With a protective cloak that we as a board can amend at any point, any time. If there's something even in this, bring it to the policy committee. But, like I say, it sounds like this will have to go to the policy committee anyways to decide
It
to
is
drop
at
it or
some
not. And that's just, there's still another committee, then ultimately the full board will, yeah, we're gonna do that or not. And that's just my take.
So is there any advantage to just drop the policy?
You're gonna have to go to the policy committee, and it's one less policy. And oh, by the way, I owe you all apology. We're behind on policy, and, the
Been waiting on you
absence,
to tell me when you wanna meet.
the absence of people has kind of created, but they're exactly where they need to be, but it's.
It ain't nothing but one day. You seen what we could do
Mr.
in
Gilly will work
one
on that.
round.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, discussion there. We did have one thing that Holly wanted to add, policy 4.302, and we don't have a copy of it in the packet, but.
I think there is
Yes,
one.
we did. Is it in
Yep.
here?
I didn't think there was, but, yep, Chris pointed out to me that
Yeah,
it was in
it's in
there.
the back.
I was scrambling.
Oh, okay, there it is. Got it. Okay, well,
Okay.
you have the floor.
Okay, so, recently, this policy came into question, regarding overnight field trips. And, I feel like that we all kind of interpreted it the same way, but maybe not. So I thought we could get some clarity
Sure.
on the wording, and if we need to change the wording to make it more clear, or if we need to leave it alone, and just, decide upon how we interpret it. But overnight field trips have to be approved by the board, I learned soon after getting on the board. We approve them every board meeting in general consent. I've not been a part of a meeting yet that any one of them have even been in question at all, so. But it does, we can see the approval form that the sponsor of the field trip filled out and got it approved. It shows you where the students are staying, how their, I believe, like how their lodging is, chaperones that are going, how they're getting transportation, financial, probably feasibility, all that kind of stuff. So, I do think that it is important that we keep it like it is. But, there was an incident where there was a overnight field trip that was not approved. And that's where the wording came into question. And so I just want to clarify, in my mind, when I read this policy, and I feel like most everybody sees it this way, although I could be wrong. The reason I say that is because teachers and coaches and club sponsors keep submitting them
Right.
to approve for us, and thank you, because that's what we want. It says any request that requires students to or stay overnight requires prior board approval. That's odd wording in my opinion. I don't know if we can make that more clear or what, but just when I read it, and maybe it's because we just approve them all the time, I'm making assumptions I couldn't make. The way I see it is, if you have an overnight field trip and you're taking a group of students and you're gonna spend the night, you're not coming home, whether it's in-state or out-of-state, if you're spending the night, because I don't think that's even specified, it needs board approval, period, for lots of different reasons. But I'll open the floor for discussion. If I'm wrong about that, or if I've interpreted wrong,
Yes, ma'am. Are you making reference to the middle school cheerleading
Yes.
trip? Okay. It's my understanding that the coach's only request, our competition starts at whatever time in the morning. Some of our students left with their family and turned it into a long weekend and went up and stayed Friday night, took Friday. It's my understanding that some children went to school, some did not, made the journey. It's my understanding that there were even cheerleaders that went on Saturday morning.
wow, so they must have left about 2 a.m.
There you
This-
go.
This was that's, because some of them were at my house. They didn't even go to the competition because it wasn't a mandatory competition.
Okay. But,
But that's irrelevant. I mean,
Well,
whether they went or didn't go.
no,
I mean, there
Not
still
really,
were
because
students
it wasn't
that
a
stayed on.
scheduled school event, because when a
Okay.
parent picks their kid up at 3:30, I have no business telling that parent what they can do with their kid after they pick them up and take them into their care, custody, and control.
Well,
I don't have that ability. Now,
Right.
if our coach, you've got a gray area there, if our coach had an event that they were required to be at, even though their parents had to carry them there, yes, that needs to be, just like it says, any request that requires students to stay overnight requires prior board approval. Yes, most definitely. But the way I understood that
Well, the
one there,
tr- the
because like I
trip-
say, some of them spent the night with my daughter at my house and didn't go.
well,
It
but
wasn't a
whether it's
mandatory thing.
required or not, if you're taking students to spend the night, whether you,
If it's required, yes, that way, it needs to be board.
but, I mean, even if it's not required, if you're taking a group of kids on behalf of Coffee County Schools to represent Coffee County Schools, and they represented Coffee County Schools, and they spent the night and did not return back, it should be approved by the board, correct? Am I wrong?
That's-
What am I
That-
missing?
that-
Any
that's for you.
request that requires students to or stay overnight requires prior board approval. What am I missing?
That's what I'm asking. What am I missing?
Well, if it requires them to stay overnight, that requires board approval.
So
To
what
me,
if it
the
don't
word,
require?
the word "or" has a very powerful meaning.
Yeah.
Because if the students, are required to, or if they stay overnight because of that event, that should.
That's even more controlling. And when I take that as being even more controlling, that means that the coach said, we're gonna have this event, you better be here. You either go with us and stay overnight, or you're gonna show up tomorrow out of town or whatever, because out of town is still part of our reasoning for having to have
The
the
approval.
form.
That wording.
So
there
in
doesn't
my
make
eyes,
odd.
this
I don't-
sentence
I don't
right
get that
here,
wording.
sense. No.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any
Really,
sense.
To me, it doesn't mean or, because
I know.
or doesn't seem to fit there
We
to me.
don't really
I think
care
or should
if,
come out.
yeah, or
If-
probably,
if they've been
Probably
required
could.
or not. If you're taking a group of students to
required
spend
is
the night,
required.
we need
Am I
board
wrong?
approval.
Well,
there's only
the
one
other
action.
thing is when just from my mind, when you say they, the coach didn't take anybody. These children left at whatever time with their
Right.
parents on their own. Some didn't leave,
Yeah,
some did leave.
Require student to stay.
I mean, I've been on this
Right,
trip.
right.
I understand.
Definitely
And I
do.
drove my kid.
Your
We
child.
went on our
That just
time.
But to add it, and then you can take the plane off again, to land it on my end, my conversation with a building leader and another administrator on that, either one, if it's not required, they don't need to receive a day off as a school event, okay?
Right.
Or two, we need to get it approved by the board, one of the
Yeah.
two. So that's their understanding moving forward.
Either way, I
Yes,
feel like
ma'am.
the trip should have been approved. It was approved the year prior. If it was just an oversight and they forgot, then let's just call it what it is.
Right.
Instead of trying to manipulate words around in a policy to cover.
Should've been.
Let's just call it what it is. It was
Well,
an
moving
inadvertent
forward, they're going to,
Yes.
you'll see it again.
Now,
Well, there's nothing wrong with your policy. Your
Right.
policy here said they were supposed to have prior board of approval.
Right.
If
Just
it was a
didn't do it.
scheduled event, that I was made aware that it wasn't, because if it was a scheduled and mandatory event, then why were some kids spending the night with my daughter in Manchester, Tennessee?
I think the word required is the big focus. If it's
Yeah.
required.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's, to me,
If it-
whether
if
it's
Coach
required
said,
or
we're gonna
not.
go do
if
this,
you're
then
keeping
they
kids
better fill
overnight.
that form out, and they better get approval from the board.
Yeah, whether you required them to or not, it doesn't matter. But if you're just taking
No,
kids,
that does matter,
that-
because
if
if I
this is the
didn't
policy,
require them to,
required.
and parents, along with maybe the participation of the coach, decided to take and go to Gatlinburg for the weekend, and whoever went and whoever decided they wanted to go, just decided to enter into an event that didn't have nothing really to do with the school, just a cheer competition, that's their prerogative. Who am
Okay.
I, or you, or anybody else in this room to tell
Well,
them what they can do on the
true,
weekend with their
but-
kids?
I mean, who paid the entry fee in the competition? Probably Coffee County Schools. And Coffee County Schools
That's
probably
a big
paid.
assumption right there, because if some of the kids was over at my house and didn't go to this competition, then that's even,
Well, as a parent,
that's
I
a
didn't
criminal
pay the fee
matter. That's a criminal
enter.
matter of some misappropriation of funds if somebody did that and then it wasn't this orchestrated event.
Well, then, I mean, I guess maybe we need to define what is an overnight field trip and what is not considered a field trip. Because,
Moving-
that was not considered a field trip.
Moving
then-
forward, there's an
The coach didn't
expectation to
require 'em
fill
there,
out
and
the,
10, I'm gonna use football for example. 10 football players wanted to go to a camp like I have done and loaded up 10 other kids and carried them to a football camp and didn't ask permission to take those kids on a Saturday because their parents said, are you going to that camp? I'd love if he could ride with you. Can he ride with you? What's the difference? What's the
Well, I
difference?
mean,
Coach didn't organize it. School system didn't organize it.
right, but the schools.
I called 10 other parents that I'm friend with and said, hey, you want your kids to ride with me? That's my liability.
Well, they
insurance."
were there representing Coffee County Schools cheer team, and Coffee County Schools, I can guarantee you, most likely paid the entry fee, because I've been on the trip and I know that I didn't pay the entry fee. And I just think that we need some clarity, and expectation set. That if it
Well-
needs to be approved, if you're taking kids to spend the night and it needs to be approved, board needs to approve it. We don't need to try to talk about wording, playing word games on policy, because
think it's here.
everybody else is following this standard. And they're going out of their way, coaches, teachers, club sponsors are going out of their way to make sure they get those approval forms in well in advance, because usually we get them the month before the trip even happens. And if we start, wavering back and forth, then
Well,
nobody has to do it anymore.
Well,
We've
two-
had some that have, come in at the last minute.
Yes,
And
yes.
that's a problem, because
Yes.
then the executive, because they're.
And that
they're-
happened on this trip the year before.
Right.
At
and
the
there's
last
been
minute.
Two
Mhm.
incidents relatively recently where that's happened, where
Yes.
the executive committee has to approve it, and I'm
the
not
last
really
minute.
comfortable doing that without the full board doing it.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah,
you
that
know,
would
and
be a
it's-
big exception. That would,
Yeah, it shouldn't always be an emergency, so
Right.
I agree with you on that.
Right.
So they need to get them in advance.
yeah.
I mean, Holly, I don't want to create war over this. I'm just saying because I literally knew about this because I was contacted
Yeah.
the very next week going, these children here that was on this team, their parents contacted and said, what do we do about this? Because the principal's got in trouble, our coaches got in trouble, everybody's getting chewed out. What do we do about
I
this?
know about
But
that.
our kid was over at your house and they didn't even go to Gatlinburg.
Well, if they didn't
So-
elect to go, then they elect to go. I mean,
So, but the
nobody-
kid that did go, their parents made that decision to take them.
Mm-hmm.
Who are we or you to tell that parent, no, you're not gonna do that unless I approve you to do that?
If you're going to represent the Coffee County Schools,
When it
that changes
wasn't
the
a
difference.
required, when it wasn't
But you're
a
representing the
required
Coffee
event.
County Schools. If you're representing Coffee County Schools, it doesn't matter whether you're required or not. Your
Was it
insurance,
a-
if you
was it a
fall
sanction?
and
Was
break
it a
your leg or
sanction?
something, the insurance for Coffee County
TSS
Schools
double
still pays
cheerleader,
for it.
whatever event.
I'm not sure about that.
I mean, was it a sponsored
I mean,
TSS double
liability is a big
cheerleader or
thing.
whatever they're in event?
Yes,
that-
it's UCA.
Like a
It's
competition
UCA.
that we get points and
Yeah, it's a UCA.
like football does to get their trophies or
Okay.
whatever,
But liability is a
state
big
tournament.
thing.
If a girl had failed and broke her leg up there, who would have paid for it?
And who would be responsible?
Coffee County Schools.
And if somebody
I
were to
don't
come
think so.
back and say,
Because they would have called me and said, well, wait a minute, it wasn't a mandatory event. Some of the kids was even over at your house, Mr. Board Member
right,
Gilly.
but they
It wasn't
went-
even a mandatory event.
those kids went on behalf of Coffee County Schools. So if we are liable for their safety, what if a kid had gotten lost? What if a kid had gotten hurt? You think those families want to sue us, they're going to say, where was this trip board approved? We're looking at all, to see if all the check boxes are checked, and it is a liability issue. Doesn't matter if some kids opted out of the trip or not. If our teachers, coaches, sponsors took a group of kids out of town or wherever to spend the night on Coffee County Schools' behalf, with Coffee County Schools' money, it needs to be board approved. That's what the policy says.
I
Well, I
think to
think
settle
it-
that issue, and, because it could potentially be a standing issue, that's almost a criminal matter if funds was used, and this is being portrayed as it wasn't a scheduled, sanctioned, whatever kind of event.
I'm not questioning
And,
the funding.
and it's
That's
this,
not
and it
my-
was mandatory, and it was representing of Coffee County, and strategically, Coffee County kids, we're,
And I think what
Coffee
you're
County Cheer
getting at,
Squad competed today in New York City.
it's that they use the Coffee County name. If they had called themselves the Unicorns or whatever.
Right. If
even
you want to
it was
go
the
on your,
same
I don't
group.
think anybody cares about that.
I don't
but
know,
it's
I mean,
because
do we
of
know
the
for a
name.
fact they did? Was that something in
Say
your?
again?
They absolutely did.
They did, okay. In your assumption, or when you
Yeah,
got involved?
and moving forward, next year when it comes around, there'll be an expectation of filling out the overnight form.
So basically, they just need to follow policy.
Follow policy, that's all we're asking.
Okay.
Exactly.
Follow
And just
policy
making,
that
making
was
sure people are
questionable.
aware.
I
You
think
know,
we
in that
need
circle.
to
If we
make
have
some changes.
coaches or teachers that maybe don't know, or, you know, or you forget, we're human, okay? Then maybe just bring this up. Just make sure you're aware. We got a lot of people that do it. I mean, we see it on the agenda every week. We approve them every week. I've never seen us not approve one. So it's a very common thing that we do, and oversights do happen. I get that. But maybe we just need to make sure that everyone is aware of what the policy says and what is required for overnight field trips.
Well, I
That's
think
just my
it would
take
be easily just go through and change some of the wording on this.
To make it a
and
little more
make it
clear.
And take that
Clear.
or out, 'cause
Clear.
that doesn't make sense.
It's pretty clear. I think the issue here is just
take the
somebody
or
didn't get
out.
reprimanded to the level that probably needed to be.
Well, the
Am I wrong?
or is weird. Students
They didn't
to
get
or stay
reprimanded to
overnight.
the level, reprimanded,
I don't know. I mean, that's not my call.
is that the, but that's the concern here, and that's the issue here. Somebody got through without a
Yes,
supposed overnight form.
yes.
Did they get enough punishment?
I have
With
no
that-
idea. You'd have to ask Ms. Hargrove. I don't know.
There's an
Policy's
expectation.
policy was here before, policy's here now, policy will be here tomorrow. I guess that's what we're talking about.
If I were a betting man, and I'm not, I bet it doesn't happen again.
Pretty well say so.
I guess what I'm hearing is we need to follow policy.
Bingo.
In a nutshell.
Well, no. We need to kick this to the policy committee to
Take
at
the or
least
out.
take
Look at the
or out.
verbiage.
Take the or out, yes.
And put
Yeah.
in another required, any required event by the teacher.
Says that, any request that requires
It has
students.
two
To
requires in
stay
that one
overnight.
sentence, so I
Requires
think
to
that's,
stay
yeah.
overnight, but
Yeah.
it doesn't say the event itself is required.
Anything that
So we
doesn't
need a
make
second
sense leaves room
required.
for interpretation.
Yes, it does.
So it needs to
Well, we
be
would-
absolutely.
You
it
wouldn't
could
even
be-
be susceptible to
Most
this
of these
policy
policies could be interpreted
if it
multiple
wouldn't be a
ways.
It's like a
reason
text message. You can
that
read it as angry or you can read it as
required
happy.
if there was a
Yes.
request to stay overnight.
Well,
Take the or out and we
But
follow
that make sense?
policy.
but the
There
parent
you go.
then,
All right,
well,
Yeah.
I think it could be made clearer.
let's
Yeah.
move on.
I think it could be
So,
made clearer.
all right.
I'll go and scratch that over.
Next item up is school financing. And we did our little for the renovation financing for Hickerson and East Coffee. We did our presentation to the commissioners.
Yes, sir.
There's some pushback and on how much it costs. I think there's, from what I've heard and I know other board members have heard, there's a little misunderstanding. They took the 67 million and they don't understand what an architect's estimate is as opposed, so they said, why don't you have 3 bids? And so there's some confusion there. So we need to do some clarity on that. But basically, from what I've heard is they're saying, well, you said, you came in, you did this presentation, nice presentation, and, you told us what you want to do. You said you want 67 million, and basically you're telling us to go out and find you $67 million and give it to you.
And what I hear out of that, Mr. Ballard, is probably another visit to our finance and county commission finance and budget. Another because the devil's in the details.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can discuss opportunities outside of raising taxes and kind of develop a little more of a plan on attack on how to fund this.
Right.
Have Wolds come back in. Mr. Shores was kind of left in a lurch there, and the gentleman's
I understand
spouse
that.
is better. Hayes actually came by yesterday and visited with us, didn't he, Mr. Shores?
Yeah.
And so we're kind of working together to have the second set and the details. And that's what they're going to want to know. I know they're suffering from sticker shock.
Well, they are.
But we've got to provide some different options with different.
I guess personally, what I think what we
Yes, sir.
need to do is go back and tell them, provide them some case studies on how this has been done recently, what the options are, make it, as easy as possible for them to say, okay, these are our options instead of just dumping it all in their lap. It's just kind of what they were hearing is, and I totally get that, but if we go back and we put together a little packet on, here's how these things get financed, here's some case studies on how it's been done in other areas in
Yes,
Tennessee
sir.
recently, then you can get that dialogue going. It's still gonna be expensive, how we're gonna save money, and an understanding of what the process is, because they were totally confused on the difference between an architect's estimate as opposed to 3 bids. I mean, I heard a lot of confusion on that. And so.
The
so it's
bid
kinda like-
process needs to be
Yeah.
part of that. We just need to walk them through it in a little bit more, in a much more detailed manner.
Yeah.
When I went to Budget and Finance as well as the County Commission, I had a task that was put on to me by this board. This board voted the direction that you felt like we needed to go for the building of Hickerson and East Coffee with the addition and renovation. And that's what I took to the County Commission. Now, it's not my place to go against what this board stated, and the board voted to go with a full new building at Hickerson with 4 sections and renovation at East Coffee with 3 sections. And that's what I did take to the county commission. I didn't feel like it was my place to say, okay, my board said this is what we want to do and this is our decision. I can't go back, I can't come up with, well, this is an option and this is an option and this is an option, because that wasn't what the board tasked me to do with what I took. So
I think what the problem was, Mr. Shores, we didn't have any idea of how the presentation was gonna go. And we didn't know that whenever you made the presentation that it was like one of the commissioners that texted me in the middle of the meeting was, well, are y'all not gonna be putting anything toward this? Or what are y'all gonna be doing to help this situation out? What kind of money are y'all gonna be putting forward? and whenever you said that, well, we want it all. And that's not, we didn't even know that you were gonna say that. None of the board knew that you were gonna say that. So whenever we're going like, well, are y'all not gonna try to put any money toward this at all? And
I was asked the question,
I understand, but
and I gave the answer of, y'all didn't send me down there to say we can give money towards this.
No, as a matter of
You-
fact.
right.
You gave me to
Justin-
go down for the money to fund what I put out.
Right.
I mean, if you wanted me to, I absolutely
But-
could, but, and I think, Mr. Hargrove actually stood up and spoke in the behalf of the board, but I didn't feel like I could do that on that part for the.
Why ain't Tim still here listening to this?
I couldn't do that. That's not my place. So when they asked me questions, I answered to the
And
best of
that's
my
what I'm-
ability.
That's what we're saying. We didn't know what you were gonna say. And we didn't have any type of presentation that was gonna be made. And I'm just telling you what I got in the middle of the meeting. We didn't have any, they wanted to know, one of the commissioners texted me and said, well, are y'all not getting any other bids? And like, well, this is just a, architect that's come up with this price right now. And so we were having to go and kind of backtrack and explain what we knew, but we had no earthly out. And I'm not saying it's your fault, Mr. Shores. I'm just saying what questions that we were asked for us that was at the meeting. We didn't even get out of the building before we were kind of bombarded with questions.
That makes me feel good that they started asking you questions. That means they heard and they listened and was on top of it.
I don't think we want to change what we want to do.
Right,
It's just,
exactly.
we got to work with them on what the.
We do, and that's the next
The
step.
financing end of it.
We were in a pinch. I thought he did a great job. That wasn't his job. That should have been a Woles. We pay that firm, but the gentleman couldn't have it.
Right.
Can't help that.
Sure.
But that was the best we could offer for that time. Okay, and I thought he did a great job
He did.
with
Yeah.
on the
He
short
did a good job.
leash.
We did a good-
Was it perfect? Well, none of our talks are ever perfect. Good Lord, I've got
Right.
marbles in my mouth half the time. But I guess my point is, I understand and I get that. We need to have it needs to be a much more detailed with options, with funding, with, options.
We're going to have more dialogue.
Oh, without a doubt.
And I
Without a
felt
doubt.
very good the other day. Mr. Hargrove came back from being around with a commissioner, and he said, I'd like for us to have a sit down and talk.
I was the one that
And-
he asked that to.
Well, that's nice. So
Thank you.
ultimately.
I appreciate that.
Good. But ultimately, I thought that was a good thing, that if he wants to sit down and they want to talk, that opens up the door for you. If you want to say you're going to fund the whole thing, that's up to you. That's not up for me. That's this board's decision. But ultimately, a discussion is good, and I think we need to include Wold with that. And I did talk to Von Dirks today, which is the lead on it, and he agreed. We need to have those talks. We're planning on having tours. The plans for the tours, I think it's the 17th and the 24th, and the 17th is in I'm going to have to look.
Well, it's the 17th and the 24th of this month. I've got to confirm this with the commission. That's
Right.
one of my goals in the morning. And one of them will be a midday or morning meeting from 9 to 12. And then the other one will be, the next Tuesday will be for folks that work during the day, will be more of an afternoon, 4:30 to probably 7. We'll meet out here. Our transportation supervisor hopefully will drive us and in both sets of trips. And we'll visit 3 schools. We'll visit both schools in question, which are Hickerson and East Coffee, and we'll also visit New Union. I think it's important that they see what we're talking about, and it won't take long.
Well, they can
Well, tell
compare
them it
apples
costs
to apples.
40
Yes,
If it
sir.
takes over 3 hours, it's gonna cost more than $49.05 an hour.
Okay, but that's our goal. Also,
just spending time with our commissioners and having those
Right.
good conversations and
Well-
hopefully,
Yeah, and I'm not being critical
No,
of
sir.
things because we needed to do that, but I'm saying that hindsight being 20/20, as it always is, you know.
I
we
hope that
probably-
they're asking. I hope they're thinking. I hope those things are coming to their mind and they're asking you and coming to you. It means they're thinking about it.
Yep.
You know the situation. Please, yes, Mr. Hanser, talk to them. Explain. Can I expect everybody, whenever anybody tells a whole group that they're going to get the full understanding? No, they're not. It didn't matter if it was Wold or if it was me or who it was. So if they have questions, I'm glad they're coming to you and asking, but we need to be prepared to have that meeting with them and continue, because we need something done for these schools, and they're the ones that we go to for that. So, and if you've got questions or if you've got concerns or ways, yeah, bring them to us, because we want to build together.
And I think that's what we're
Yeah.
doing here is, it's a discussion we gotta have, and it's gonna be a
The
hard
next step.
discussion.
Yes,
Because
sir.
it's a lot of money.
It is.
Absolutely,
But,
it is.
You know, part of the discussion needs to be, okay, you know, they don't understand the difference between an architect's estimate and 3 bids, you know, so that's something that
Yes,
they
sir.
need to be clear on. They need to be clear on what exactly our fund balance is and what it represents, so we need to have that discussion with them. And we also need to look at, you know, how do these things get financed? Because I don't know right now, you know, does anybody here?
No,
Mr.
I'm
Gilliard,
glad they
you know,
didn't
but-
ask me, because I wouldn't
Yeah.
have known the
Yeah.
answer either, so
There's a lot of
we'd all be in
things.
the same
The
spot.
county has 100% funded, so like when we did, I know the amount of money is not the same, but with the New Union and North Coffee renovations, they 100% funded it through a bond.
Right,
And so that, I guess that's why, I mean, when Kelvin answered it, that's going off the general knowledge of we've never had to really give funding before. And so that's just kind of
Right.
how it's proceeded through the year.
well,
And you gotta also look at how they're gonna fund it and what area. If they're gonna use real depth or whatever, because ADM and
right,
things of that
exactly,
nature.
exactly. So,
It
So
really
there's
is an
many,
lot.
there's many
evaluation.
different tactics and ways this is gonna have to be.
I mean, if
lot
there's
of
a chance
stuff that
they
needs
would
to be
pay for all
discussed.
of
It's gonna be a
it,
process.
why would we offer to pay for it? You know, if there's a chance that it could be fully funded by the county, it would be silly of us to be like, I would love for us to pay 75% of this straight
Yeah.
up. That's not how that works.
Right.
Well,
So,
No, the
Yeah.
county
go
must do
big,
that.
ask big
but they need
first.
to, you know, but that's part of the dialogue they need to understand
Yeah.
is that we don't have $20 million we can just throw
No.
at this, and, you know, but they don't understand how our fund
I'm
balance.
not allowed to go get any bonds. That all has to be run to the county.
Right.
Right, the county has to fund it, yeah.
And I'm basically waiting on the county to, or whatever, to work out the financial part of this with the county, because I can't go get bonds and I can't finance.
Well, is it even possible for us to throw fund balance, any, you know, any part of our fund balance at it?
If you do that with fund balance, then you'll have to ADM with the other systems, correct?
So if we did,
Not necessarily, well,
Unless you go, I mean, so what are we doing? Funded fund balance, or, real depth then, so. that they-
Yeah, that's what they looked at would be rule.
I don't know if we can do that, because once a transaction goes from us to that, can you answer that, Ms. April?
so they would still fund it, I think, through roll debt, even if we did give fund balance. But there's long-term things that we need to think about when we talk about fund balance.
right.
I might be going into too much information here, but, we don't know what federal dollars are gonna do next year. There's a lot of things like, you know, we probably shouldn't use fund balance for that, but we may get into a situation where we will have to. And, there's just a lot that, in the renovations that we're doing, that y'all will see on the agenda next week and upcoming meetings, those things are coming from fund balance.
Right.
If we wanna continue to get our teacher sales to 50,000 and compete with other counties, that, some of that may have to come from fund balance.
Right.
So
And I don't think they understand the difference between our restricted fund balance and our unrestricted fund, you know, so some of these things we're gonna have to educate them on is.
And I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
We do have a good majority of our, I mean, not a good majority, but about half of our assigned fund balance is sitting in our
you're looking at $1 million.
Right.
I will
We
be, I will be.
understand that,
Yeah.
but.
I
the
understand.
commissioners do
And,
not.
and one of the things that we've talked about, and I talked about with, Mr. Morris as well as Mayor Hunt, is having April come down and talk about, because school
Yeah.
budgets aren't anything close to what they were 3 years ago.
Right.
We're in a TISA formula, we're utilizing that, and we have April go down and share how we build our budget. We have Dr. Cornelius go down and share what TISA means and what it means to us dollars. We want to build our partnership. And hopefully, you'll get last Friday's email tomorrow, and it'll have some other things on our finances that I'd really like to share with you all. But I hear you loud and clear, Mr. Ballard. The devil's in the details, but we need to start providing more detailed information and kind of get along with the planning and what our next steps are.
Now, my objective is not to be critical of
Oh,
Mr.
no,
Shores
sir.
or anything. It
No.
was-
We're on the
it
exact
was-
same page.
we're gonna
Yes,
have to-
sir.
I'm basically saying, we're gonna have to roll up our sleeves.
Yes,
and-
sir.
Yes, sir.
and
Yeah,
give
we're
them
ready
the
to move to the
information
next step.
Yes, sir.
What's that?
We're ready to move to the next step.
True.
Yeah,
That's where we are.
yeah.
Right.
I had a commissioner today to ask me about the bid for the football stadium. And that's something else that, guys, that we're gonna have to show, in my opinion, in his, is what are we gonna do? Are we gonna remodel the football stadium, or are we gonna build a school?
Mhm.
Which one are y'all wanting to do? And I go, maybe both. I don't know. Those are questions that I've heard, and, that's something that, we're gonna have to show them that we're doing our due diligence down here to,
Well, sure. But by no means, I'm talking with my mouth full, sorry.
we won't know.
I didn't get to finish my second piece.
It's all right.
I'm not ashamed we have a fund balance.
Not at all.
No.
Not at
Me,
all.
I'm proud that we tried to do things conservatively and spend our dollars wisely.
Over-
And I'm not,
Absolutely.
and that's not an indictment on our commission.
Oh.
No,
That's just our business.
I'm
Right.
proud that we are fixing up the football stadium. We are going to LED lights everywhere in the system. We are putting up canopies at schools. We are spending every dollar that we have in our fund balance, rather than having an issue of worrying if the county knows. The county just needs to know we're doing everything we can appropriate to do safely, that we feel advised safely enough to get rid of, to work on the same capital and infrastructure that we're still going to have, including these schools. And they are good enough that they're willing to come to the table and, we'll talk about schools here, but,
Mhm.
we've
doing
not
our
made,
part
we've
without
not
asking
made
them.
bad decisions
true.
as a board. This board has not made bad decisions
No.
on money appropriation.
Right.
Doing the things at the football stadium, stuff of that nature, that's still our center stone.
Yeah.
That's our look as a school system.
I think it's just, increased communication with the commissioners.
And I
so
think that
they understand that we're.
I think
wisely
that, well, they understand,
using our
because you
resources.
see half, three-quarters of them at either a track event, soccer event, or football event, or youth football, or something at the stadium, in our theater at the high school. They see we're spending the money on
And that ain't free.
our stuff, right?
And we've been able to do those things, and we haven't had to go down
Down the
their
hall.
office and ask, hey, we need money
Yep.
to
Right,
fix this
right.
and this.
Right.
And we're able to do it with the money they've already
Yep,
been.
yep.
Right.
Yeah, that needs to be communicated back to them, and, I
Sure.
think Mr. Hargrove
Great-
is
great
working on
plan.
that, because
Yes,
we
sir.
have not had that communication. So it's somewhere we need to go, so.
Should have
I'll
made
just-
Tim sit here and listen to this. Got two ways to make him sit here and listen to it. Take a pick.
All right. Well, with that, I think we can move on, and Holly and Chris had a policy proposal discussion, and I'm gonna let you dive into that, so, because,
Okay.
you texted me about it, but
Yes.
I think you probably need to
Yeah.
explain.
Okay, so, recently, it has come to my attention that our school district doesn't have a local policy, that either of us could find, regarding retaliation in the workplace. And so I feel like that we need to probably look into doing that, just to offer a layer of protection for our employees. I don't think anybody wants to, for Coffee County Schools to be a workplace where, yes, yes, okay, so, let me back up just a little bit. Chris, do you care to hand them out? Okay, okay. He's gonna hand out this, okay. This is a policy that,
Do the clerical work.
I have to say, I can't really take the credit. Chris worked very, very hard on putting this together. Tried to cover as much as he could. But something that we really need to consider, I believe, to get in our policy manual. We don't want a workplace environment where there's intimidation, harassment, where we're instilling fear in employees. HR, you understand that completely? Where employees are discouraged from voicing concerns or threatened with their employment if they do. We just don't, I mean, I know there's state laws in place for workplace laws, but we didn't have anything, when we looked through all the policies, we didn't have anything here, and if I'm wrong, correct me, locally, where we could say, you know, retaliation, this was a form of retaliation against this employee for voicing a concern or reporting misconduct. And I think, you know, in here, it's even got first offense, second offense, a layer of protection for our employees.
So what is the origin of the text here? Is that, did you pull this from somewhere, or?
The origin is loosely based on Union County's,
Yes. Provided by TSBA.
yeah,
Okay, got it.
yeah.
All right.
Ben with TSBA provided their policy on it.
Okay, I was just curious. So.
Yeah, we just, I mean, I feel like that if we could get this in place and then our staff members made aware of it, reminded, whatever.
Cleans things up.
It does.
Gives clear
it does.
expectations.
Expectations, and then, you know.
Accountability.
Accountability, God forbid something happened where you have to go down to the bottom of this. But it would give you a leg to stand on, to where, like you said, it cleans things up. So, we want our Coffee County Schools, I think, we would all agree, wants to be free of intimidation, free of threats or, you know, things that instill fear in employees, or threatening employment if they talk to the director. I think Mr. Hargrove is very approachable. He, even with a complaint form, that's okay, but that's not employees, so
Right.
that doesn't apply here. But I think that our employees feel comfortable coming to him, and we want them to continue to feel comfortable coming to them and not have fear if they do, or coming to board members. When it is discouraged for employees going to board members, talking about sharing ideas or even voicing concerns, you know, I mean, they shouldn't be threatened when doing that. Board members are elected officials, elected to serve all citizens of this county. And to threaten employees and say, if you go talk to a board member, your employment is in question, I'll bring you a resignation letter, that's trying to silence them. That is taking away their First Amendment right. You can't do that. So they should never be threatened in that way. And I just want to be able to know that we did everything we could in our power to make sure that our workplace environment remains an approachable, open environment, open door. If you want to call a board member, text a board member, whatever, we want everyone to feel comfortable doing that. If you want to talk to the director, you know, or your principal, but nobody should feel fear if they do. We should be encouraging that. So that's what I have to say about it. I'll open it up for anybody.
I'm all about anything that makes it clean.
Okay.
If
So,
it's clean and clear.
yes.
I think those are all things that we can all live by.
When we just, I mean, you know, you can box yourself into policies to the point that it's not good. But in this scenario right here, I think this is a layer of protection for our employees from the top down,
Ms.
you know,
Hawley,
anybody.
have you looked at policy 5.501, or complaints and grievances
I
policy?
think we did pull that up. when we were
Lines
looking.
9, where nothing can be used against you on the personnel, and you're protected by state, federal rights as mandated by law that you're protected from.
Right.
Meaning you can't be retaliated against
Right,
without
right,
having good grounds to come back on whoever that was that retaliated.
yeah,
And that's by law. So,
right,
not saying this policy fully meets kind of what you're thinking,
Mm-hmm.
but we do have those protections stated in policy.
it is touched on, yeah. I just felt like,
That if it got to that point, I feel like anyone who felt retaliated,
Yeah.
they're gonna, that's the first thing their
Yeah.
union person's gonna tell them,
Did it
this and
get
that. They're
to that
fixing to
point
come
then?
at the school system like crazy if they're retaliated against.
I mean, I don't, I don't know, for
But-
sure.
But.
Y'all made this for a reason, I'm assuming.
Right, I mean, yeah, I
You
mean,
know-
their employment was threatened.
You, do what now?
We
Well,
had some employees.
yeah, but you have, if there was complaints and or grievances, this whole policy, there's a whole process to that. Once it goes through your grievance committee, I guess that's what I call it. Once it goes through the grievance committee, then the director issues the report of what then it goes to the ethics committee. And the ethics committee, of course, is made up of board members. But going back to what you were saying about board members receiving calls and wanting people to tell board members about this stuff, once again, I'm gonna go back to, we only have power as a group. This board only has power as a group, not any one individual has the power to act or do anything else. Now, that's not to say we're not gonna be human,
Right,
and we're not gonna say, so-and-so called me, this is an issue, just letting you know,
yeah,
chief.
right, exactly, just want you to know.
Just letting you know, chief.
Check
You know what
into
I'm
it.
saying? Anybody that's human's gonna
Yeah.
do that to protect another human.
Right,
I don't have a problem in the world agreeing that we take our policy 5.501, if that's what it is, I'm having to read it on the phone. 5.501, taking what Mr. Coon has here and having a comparison session and come to a determination.
I don't have that policy in front of me, the one you're talking about. I think I did look at
It's
it.
our policy 5.
But this,
I mean,
this
it won't zoom
policy,
anymore, it's so small.
Chris drafted up.
5.501.
it's a lot more detail.
Well, it's
You know.
straightforward to, it's a lot more words that is exactly what is noted in here that we are afforded by law. This is more the law spelt out, where this one over here, and I'm not saying, I'm not trying to argue that this says enough.
Yeah,
I kind of feel it does, because by law, it's easy for anyone to pull the law and know that you've done it. I dare somebody to do it. They ought to know better than to do it, because the moment they do, there's a case coming this way.
absolutely. Yes,
And if you said somebody has had that happen, and they can prove they were retaliated against, it is what it is.
right. That's why.
Somebody better get to negotiating and settling.
Well, and if we can protect ourselves by having this in place also, not just the employees, but ourselves as Coffee County Schools to say, if it is found, if an investigation is conducted and it is found that, retaliation did occur, that you retaliated against an employee or you threatened an employee because of them voicing concerns or reporting misconduct, then it lays out first offense, second offense, third offense. And it would give Mr. Hargrove the power to take action if needed. Hopefully, that's never going to be needed. But what you're reading out of that other policy is kind of vague, and it doesn't specify first offense, second offense.
No,
What?
it just says the review of the case, the director of schools shall take action as he or she deems appropriate and within a prompt and reasonable amount of time.
Yeah. This is a little more detailed.
I think he wants to keep his job. I don't think he's going to allow anybody to retaliate against anybody, or we're not going to shut up as board members either,
Right.
if that were to happen. I just, not saying we don't need to compare these two,
Right.
but
mean, this
I
is
don't
just-
think we make a mountain out of a molehill, because we're all going to take anybody that retaliates against anybody in this system, we're going to take them to the stake.
Mm-hmm.
We all will in here.
I
Or we
want-
better.
Yeah,
Well-
I think we just want everybody to look over this, if, you know, if it's something, if the wording needs to change, if some stuff needs to be taken out, if any kind of revisions, it's just a draft,
We better get
really.
that policy committee.
there you go.
Fired up. You better go ahead and grease them irons.
Yeah,
Well, I think y'all did a great job.
But
with
one
this.
thing on this right here is it also gets into the threat of retaliation.
yeah.
And that's a big
A
thing.
threat is still retaliation.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
In
it
any
is.
code,
Yes, it is.
in any code, any definition, you don't have to compare threat to retaliation. Even a threat is retaliation. Just the matter that your life, and trust me, because we've had to have some discussions,
We'll talk about it.
that, just the thought, anything that changes the normal course of daily operation for that employee is considered, can be considered retaliation.
Right.
Anything that changes their normal daily
Right,
routine. So if they just feel like the air temperature got cut down in their room because they told on something,
Yeah.
that can be considered retaliation.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we did all this right here.
Yeah.
It
So,
does happen. It
We
does.
don't want employees feeling that way. We want employees to feel comfortable sharing ideas, sharing concerns. It doesn't matter. Nothing is gonna be held against you.
because to tack on to this, we also have obligations as board members to follow up with proper procedures with ethics committee, violations,
Okay.
no matter who or what.
Well, then that might be something that we need to think about.
And
Yeah,
Because,
attorneys, and if attorneys won't speak up and step up,
yeah,
we need to start taking into account our annual consideration of who our board attorney is,
yeah.
so that things just don't get sitting over here waiting, and
Well,
waiting,
and-
and waiting, and waiting, and
For-
waiting.
You know, staff members should never be in my opinion, never be discouraged from talking to their elected officials. We have a really strong group of administrators, I feel like, in this system. We've got lots of principals with over 30 years, and I feel like we're really strong in administration, that we're really robust, and I feel like we have a strong board too. And it shouldn't be administrators against board, or board against, we should be one team working together. And employees should not be discouraged from sharing their feelings with the director or with board members.
No,
And we're
and
sure not
that's why
threatened.
all I said a while ago was us board members better be real careful, though,
Mm-hmm.
how we take that information and what we do with it.
Right, I mean, if it needs to be
Because
reported.
it's not our purview until it makes that circle.
Yeah.
And follows the correct process till
And
it
if
gets
you
back to
are
us.
informed of something like that, perhaps it needs to,
Find that, we
Go to the
know,
right channel.
we know who the right person to go to is. There's only one.
right,
That's the only person we can talk to.
right.
Oh, buddy.
I think what I've heard too from one principal and is that, you know, our administrators wants us to follow the chain of command or whatever, but whenever you lose the ship, they feel like the board members is all that they can come to. So if they don't feel comfortable in coming to you, then they're not gonna come to you. They're gonna come to us, and then that's whenever it becomes our position as what's happened in this situation that we're talking about.
Our position can be no more than reporting.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all our
That's right.
position can be.
Yeah.
That's right.
It
But
can
we have to
only
report.
be reported.
we have to report it.
one person. Or law enforcement, if we're like, man, I can't believe they done that, they touch you like that, I'd go down here and talk to sheriff.
Well, I think that's why
I'd go down here and talk to sheriff.
this whole thing that's proposed runs through the director of schools. So if we're aware of things, we report to Mr. Hargrove for policy for his contract. and,
Well, that's
you
state
know,
law. We have
Right.
no authority to approach anyone in the daily life of the school system other than the director of schools, who is our one employee, period.
Well, we interact with people when we're out at school.
You can,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can interact, but you're talking about getting into business when we're inserting ourselves into criminal aspect, maybe.
What Holly's talking about is if you know, if you're out of
Personnel,
school
line and
and
staff
somebody brings up
issues.
something to a board member and they get retaliated against because of that, that's kind of what
You've got your,
addressing
you've
here.
got your process. We've got our complaint and grievances process
Right.
that they're afforded by any state, federal law, whatever they're entitled to, a protection of doing that. Whistleblower statutes, if anybody's ever heard of that.
Yeah, I understand.
Anyway, I
So-
won't take up any more time, but I just want everybody to take a look at it, see what you think. If we don't like it, we can scrap it, or we can change it, throw it out, whatever.
It's definitely going to the policy committee to,
But it is
both
some-
sheets.
It
I
is
think
of
it
most
should.
importance that we protect our
I'm gonna
people.
make sure it's on the
Okay.
agenda,
Yeah.
that both of them,
Thank you.
yours and this,
Yes.
and we sit there and we try to find a little
Yeah,
common ground.
we've got to do something.
Yeah. So that's all I have on. Thank you all for listening to me.
Thank you for taking the time, both of you,
Yeah,
to
thank
write that up. It's very professional
Thank
and I
y'all
like it.
for
And
having discussion.
Bring it up.
Together and having
Well, thank Union County for giving the basis of it.
yeah, for sure.
You
And
still made it
TSBA 's
pretty. Good
assistance,
job.
too. TSBA was instrumental in helping.
Just a couple more things, and one is probably just really quick, but, speaking of fund balance, we did talk Tuesday at the Innovation Committee meeting about the after-school program, and they are applying for a new
LEAP.
grant.
LEAP grants,
Yeah, and,
LEAP grant.
but, I'm bringing up the possibility that we may want to take some of our fund balance and maybe look at 2 years of the after-school program, which might be like 1.2 million, and restrict that. If we don't need it, we don't need it, but that would provide some backstop in case this
Yes, sir.
fund does not come through. So that, I just throw that out to everybody. It would restrict like $1.2 million, but, and make that available for, and if we want to unrestrict it, we can do that down the road. That is correct, April? If we restrict something and then we find we don't need it, then we can unrestrict it.
Yes, so what it would do, Mr. Harper would have to approve me to restrict it, and then, once that happens, and then I would have to bring it before the board to use it for something else.
Right, okay, yeah, so we could do that. So I'm just looking at keeping that thing going, that, if they can get that grant, it's a great grant and stuff like that, then it would probably fully fund the program. It would change the program a little bit,
It would,
but.
but I'm not sure it'll alter it to a point where it just looks that vastly different. I'm not commenting because I don't want to jinx it, but
But she was
She-
saying,
she is.
50% chance maybe,
She told
so.
us not to
It's-
even talk about it.
That's
That's what she
right.
said.
I'm following orders.
I should have brought it up, okay, shame on me.
She said less
Yeah.
than 50.
Yeah.
So I throw that out there, for discussion, we can, so would we have to pass a motion to do that, or would that just be Mr. Hargrove?
To restrict some funds to be used for, so because we don't currently have a restricted fund for that, we would have to do a budget amendment to move some funds
Okay,
into an area in the budget and cost center it to be just used for that. And then I would restrict it, then it would become a restricted balance at the end of the year.
okay. So,
that will happen as we build next year's budget.
yeah,
Is that the
If
timing?
If there's something that won't happen this year, I need to know that pretty quickly.
When you mean this year, are you speaking 26, or are you speaking 26, 27?
What are y'all, what's the,
Well, it might be needed for this coming year, so it would
Right.
have to be this year that it was restricted.
So I would have to do a budget amendment to move out of it, probably from unassigned fund balance, and restrict, and put it in an area of the budget and restrict it. And then, once I close 25, 26, it would roll into that restricted fund. And then next year, if we needed to pull it out, I would do a budget amendment to pull it out and use it to where we could money use it at.
Yeah. My concern is that, like we did a couple of years ago where we had to have, emergency, to pull the funds because we didn't get the grant and we had to do some last minute maneuvering, so.
And then if we ended up not using it, and y'all could either vote to put it back into unassigned or to use it for something else.
Okay. All right. So that's that proposal. And then the last thing I had on the agenda was, and I think I sent it in a text to everybody, is, I just want to throw this out here, is what is the one thing we can do as a board over the next 9 to 12 months to positively affect educational outcomes for our students? One thing we can do as a board, and just throw that out for discussion, to positively affect the educational outcomes. So we've done, I think over the last couple of years, we've really done a lot of good stuff, but, is there something else we can do? So any thoughts on that?
Push it along to build one school and one remodel.
That's a good
Yep.
goal.
All right.
What
Anything
do
else?
we have, Tom?
Win the state championship football.
Well, that's
And
it's
something.
gonna bring those reading scores up there.
Every sport, state championship.
Oh.
What do we have, I'm not clear yet, what do we have in, I know we have, where we do the program for those rising first graders that need help. But what do we have as a general program for our kids during the summer to kind of keep them on board with their reading skills, their math skills? Do we have anything like that?
We get funding for summer school from the state and
But,
from.
but that's not that's more on our needs.
Right.
Me, but I don't think we turn.
We don't turn them away, but I think primarily it's designed for,
Hey, you failed,
Catching
better go to
up.
summer school, you ain't gonna be buddies next year.
just kind of, those gaps, closing gaps.
Close to that.
I would say anything we can do and any kind of program we can set up to keep them doing in a fun way their math skills and their reading skills through the summer.
Some
I know
camps.
that when Kelvin was principal, when my granddaughter Tia was in school, they had a summer reading program and they had well, I don't know if there were prizes, but they were awards for how much they could read during the summer. And there are competitive kids who go for that sort of thing, but
I wanna see that sign-up sheet.
she did great.
I
I
mean,
think she got the
I didn't wanna
award
look at
several
him 20
years
years
in a
down
row.
the road.
yeah, I don't think there's nobody in this room that wouldn't think that, man, that'd be killer. I'd wanna see the sign-up sheet of how many actually participate. But if we have a summer school program and they wanna come out, I don't guess nobody turns anybody away, do they?
Usually the ones that we really need to come, is sometimes.
We have difficult time getting them to the shore, yes.
Yeah. So I've been studying what they call the Mississippi Miracle down there.
Yes,
where-
sir.
And you and I have talked about that a little bit, where Mississippi has been at the bottom of the educational ladder forever, and now they have moved to the top 10. And so I've kind of been studying, looked at that, and one of the things they do, and I know it's controversial here, but third grade retention has been a big part of that. But the other thing they do is, and I don't know if we do that here, but they do continual coaching on they have a coach for the teachers. Do we do that here?
I mean, we
When
have
we
Miss
do the-
Sizemore, and then you have our other coaches. You've got Miss Gaddis, you've got Miss Janice.
Okay.
Oh, yes, sir.
So- And there's some other angles on that that I think is just kind of fascinating. I mean, they really focused a lot on phonics, you know?
And we use Haggerty as our phonics
Yeah,
program here.
okay.
So we have a unified
Yeah,
phonics program.
so,
I think some of the nuances that are different, they don't have much of a say-so, if I read correctly, in that same delving into the Mississippi Miracle, the autonomy that, if you're a teacher, you appreciate. They're voluntold, this is our curriculum, and
yeah,
but it's worked. It's worked, and some of the things that differ, that I question, are how our state tests are testing versus what test are they using? So,
yeah, you'd have to look at what you get adapted, what, you know.
yes, sir. But
What works
I'm
there
not
doesn't
taking
work here.
anything away. That state has done remarkably, and I think our state has come a pretty long way. I don't wake up in the middle of the night, but we have another transition coming, and we don't know what those changes and challenges provide and what our folks have to go through to.
Yeah. It's
to
just
meet
worth
those.
looking at because
It
it's
sure
such a
is.
remarkable
It is
turnaround where you
very
go from the bottom to the
remarkable.
top, you know.
In math and reading.
Yeah, and it's just absolutely amazing what they've done down there, so.
Yes, sir. Fine Arts Night is coming up
Yay.
this month.
I'm excited.
And I'm excited, our folks are excited, our kids are excited, and it will be an elementary through our high school. It will be a pre-K through a 12th grade event, and it's at the middle school, so,
What date is
The 19th, I think. Gemma got picked, and it has been like the biggest honor for her. I got chosen, so.
it's a neat
they've made
event.
it into
It's a
big
neat,
deal.
it's a good, neat, and it's our first one.
It's exciting.
We'll learn how to get better from it, but I appreciate, Chrissy Ledsinger is one of our heads of it out at East Coffee. I appreciate her leading the charge, and, they picked up the ball and running with it, but I'm excited.
Those kids are pumped about it. Even the ones that aren't going to be in it are super excited.
It is Board Appreciation Month, was in January. Did we get snowed out? We did get snowed out.
We need some more snow.
We're just gonna do it February too.
Let's do it.
The gifts that were provided for you all were provided by the students and the teachers and staff and faculty at Hickerson. Our friends at New Union also left.
I got a brick of coal from that.
Everybody else had a good kit. You got the brick. Okay.
No, I didn't.
I swapped out with you.
Got a great kit.
And the other boxes are from the district. We thank you all. We appreciate what you do and your service to our community and our teachers and staff, and most of all, our students and families. Thank you all.
it? It is an honor.
Well, with that, I think we have a wrap, and, so, thank you very much.
Sit
We'll get out
back
of here.
down.
No, we don't.